All right, guys, today we got a real special guest in the house. This man is a lyrical monster, singer, and producer, and that's exactly why the man Eminem signed him to Shady Music Publishing. I'm talking about the one and only Astray.
Yo, what's good, everybody? What's poppin'? What's good, Panda Chop? Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Man, I appreciate your time today. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Besides our little sound technical difficulties that we're having, I'm doing good.
That's good to hear, man. So I like to start at the beginning, cover things in chronological order. So where are you originally from?
Okay, so that kind of gets a little crooked, right, or a little weird right there, because I was adopted. So I'm originally from Trenton, Michigan, and I spent about however long it took my mom to give birth to me there. And as soon as she gave birth, they said skirt, and they moved me to a foster home for about 2 months. And then my parents adopted me and brought me to Saginaw. So I'm from Saginaw, Michigan, but I've spent so much time living down in the Detroit area and, doing dirt as far as like music goes, working down there and trying to make a name for myself, that I also rep Detroit equally. So I also have to say I'm from Detroit, but originally I would say I'm from Saginaw, Michigan. That's the hometown.
And did you grow up with any siblings?
No, none. I'm the only.
So you're only child, okay.
The one and only. Yeah.
What did your parents do for work growing up?
My pops worked at GM his whole life, and not his whole life, but he ever since I can remember. And then my mom worked at which is now AT&T. She worked at it was Michigan Bell, then it was Ameritech, and then it was AT&T. And then they split when I was like 5. So yeah, that just to add context to that.
So for the household that you were growing up in, you were going back and forth between your two parents then?
Since I was 5, yeah.
Yeah. And what was that like? What was like your relationship with your parents?
Oh, surprisingly, it never really messed with me that they got a divorce. You know what I'm saying? I didn't look at it like, oh man, like this is, I still see my dad all the time. I was living with my mom. Everything was cool until, my dad, my mom was pretty strict, but she always held me down as far as anything that I needed. Like, she was always a really good mom. And to this day, she's a really good mom. And my pops kind of got into, like he partied a little too much and some wild shit. One of the reasons they divorced and one of the reasons he started living his life like that was, he was in Vietnam, and he, so he had to go through all that trying to survive over there. And then one day on his way to work at like 5 o'clock in the morning, he was cruising down the expressway, getting like going to his work, going to his job, and a random bullet, like some kid somewhere, like a gunshot, hit him. And where we are, our highway kind of it's kind of hilly, like you got to go up the hills to get to the houses. So down here is the highway. And so it's like someone was purposely just randomly shooting at cars, and they caught him in the shoulder. And my mom likes to, I was only 4 when this happened. So I remember it happening, but I don't remember like what an effect it had on him. And she swears up and down that it was like some PTSD type shit. Like he got shot and he just his whole brain chemically switched. He was like, he didn't want to be in a family. He didn't want to live that life. He was like, damn, I almost died the second time. I'm gonna like live it up. So he started drinking way more, got into drugs, and basically did that until the day he died. But all that aside, he was a great dad. Like I love my dad to death, and he was a he was such a good guy and a big heart. It was just the alcohol and the substances, they fuck with your mind. So
Did he ever tell you like stories about when he was in Vietnam?
yeah. Well, my me as a little kid, not knowing no better, I always used to ask him like, "Did you kill anybody over that?" He would never answer that question, but he definitely told. He was always telling stories about it over there and showing me pictures of him and his homies that he was like in the what do you call it?
Like the platoon with and
The
stuff?
platoon, battalion, whatever.
Yeah.
Like so and the pictures looked like, he was having a good time, but I think he definitely went through some shit over there too. So um he was like a soldier, and they, like you could tell it wasn't he was out there in Vietnam like on some uh he didn't have no special position. He was just a soldier. So he was out there with the other soldiers, and you could just tell with the pictures that he wasn't it's almost like that movie I know it's two separate places. That movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, Jughead, like he was just a soldier, you know what I'm saying? Like he had to go through what everybody else was going through. He didn't have like a special position where that kind of like took him out of that shit. So he would always watch like war flicks and shit like that. He would watch um God, I'm trying to think of the name of some of these movies that I remember seeing on the shelves when I was a kid. Like Platoon. I definitely seen Platoon. Like what's the movie where old boy kills himself in the beginning? Um it's an extremely popular war flick, just a movie in general. Gomer Pyle, his name's the movie's called Full Metal Jacket.
Oh,
He
right.
he watched that a lot. He watched just anything that was about war. Like he would watch he would watch it a lot, and he would get drunk and yell at the shit. Like he would yell at the TV as if it was like a football game or some shit. And it was just the wildest shit when I was growing up, and I would be like, "That's my pops." It came to a point where it wasn't weird to me or nothing. It was just like that's pops. So
That was a tough war for America to be in. You know what I mean? Like it was almost like it was set to be a losing battle. It was tough.
that's what that's what I've heard from a lot of people that say that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like shit is crazy.
So you were saying that you were adopted, right? What age did you find out that you were adopted?
Well, not they, not really my dad, but my mom, she kind of let me know pretty early. Like, I think she just wanted me to have the knowledge of knowing what it was to be adopted and what that's meant. So, I wouldn't like misconstrue it if I heard it somewhere else and then it like shocked me or something. Like, Mom, what? I was adopted? Like, what does that even mean? Or what, you know what I mean? Like, so she grew me up knowing that I was adopted, which was just like, okay, all right. So, but it also like, it kind of fucked my head up a little bit because not that I knew that my mom was not my real mom, or my dad was not my real dad, because I never thought of it that way. Like I was like, these are the people I've known since I knew how to know what something even is, and these are my parents. But I did, of course, start to realize like, oh, I actually come from somewhere else. Like I don't have their blood running through my veins, even though that's my mom and dad, like my moms and pops. But um, there's nothing higher than them in my life. It's I'm still from another person, so I always grew up wondering like, what are my genes? What is my ancestry? You know what I'm saying? So or do I act like, do I have any brothers and sisters that I act just like, or do I act like my real biological pops or mom, or like, do we have the same tendencies, stuff like that. It was crazy. It was a weird way to think about things growing up, but I mean, it was what it was.
It's a weird thing, and kind of like there's like almost like no correct answer, because it's like, do you wait till they're 18 and tell them, and then all of a sudden they're questioning their whole life and their identity? Do you tell them early on and then they're like searching, you know what I mean? Like it's really, I don't know if there's a right way to go about it.
There isn't, man. But I do know, I do know that if they would have waited to tell me till I was 18, it would have probably had a way bigger effect on
Yeah.
me. It would have been like some shocking type shit. Like maybe like it would have just sent me down this. I'd have just felt fucked up. I guarantee that. I wouldn't have felt like coming up knowing it and understanding it a little better as the years go by, and I'm just like, I'm adopted. Okay, I'm not from these people, but this is my mom and dad, and um it's crazy. It's, you know what I mean? Like I'm glad she did do it that way. If I could just say that. I'm glad
Yeah,
she.
because I think that if you find out later on in life, it's almost like you've been lied to. So there's like
Yeah.
kind of like that deceiving kind of feeling there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever met your birth parents?
Not my biological dad, but I when I was 18. So my biological mom, she went through this Lutheran adoption agency down in Detroit, and they they were the ones that took me, found a foster family for me while they found a good fit, like parents for me. And she always kept up her information until, because legally you had to be 18 to find your birth parents. I don't know if that's still the law, but legally you had to be 18, and then uh uh so I turned 18 and I was excited as hell. I went straight to the Lutheran agency, and her most recent, she kept it up every year, like her, where she was living, where she was still in Trenton, um all this and that. So that very day, I think the Lutheran adoption agency was somewhere like around Waterford or Pontiac or something around that area. So I was only like maybe still like 45 minutes away. So I got to talk to her for like 5 minutes on the phone and talk about like one of the most exciting fucking moments in your life. It was just, it was crazy, bro. It was like, I've been waiting 18 years, and each year, like the, what's it called? What's the word? Just it just each year it grew thicker. Like me, like wondering and wanting to know, and
Your eagerness.
questions forming. Yeah, absolutely. And so I got off the phone with her. I'm like, yep, all right, we're going to see her. So let's, look on the map. Where's Trenton? Oh, okay, it's Trenton. Because I wasn't really familiar with Detroit back in those days. That was back when that was back in the day.
Right, right.
But anyway, so let's just say it was all maps and shit like that. There was no form of checking your phone or there was no Garmin's out, no navigational systems or anything like that. So
Right.
anyway,
What year is this?
but I don't want to give away my age, but
okay, all right, got you. All right, got you.
no, I'll be real. Though. I'll be real. I was 18 and it was 98. So it was almost 99 because we had my first daughter in 99. When I was 18 years old, I turned 18 in November. I turned the next age in November, so it's 1 month away from the new year. So I was born in the end of 1980. You know what I'm saying? So I've been around this motherfucker for a little while. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah. So anyway, so what do? I pull out of the parking lot, and Detroit's got a lot of one ways, and I'm a good driver, I guess, at this point for being 18, but I wasn't that good of a driver because I tried to hit the turnaround. Like, all right, so here's your one lane and your other lane in the one way. They're both going like this. You get in the turnaround, you want to get the far left lane to turn around, right? So I wasn't thinking. I was so excited and all these mixed emotions, and I tried to get in that lane from the far right lane. So I went in front of all this traffic, and I was in my dad's Cadillac. Well, my pops always drove a Cadillac. So he it just like a car. When I was doing that, the car behind me went boom, and it knocked my dad's whole front bumper off. So I'm like, fuck, long story short, I put the bumper in the trunk and we skated and rolled down there, and I met my mom with a bumper in my trunk, and I got home and my dad was furious. But he wasn't as mad as I thought I was gonna die. He didn't kill me. So you know what I mean? Like I guess he just might have understood like how excited I was, and accidents happen and shit like that. Like, he was a real easygoing guy when it came to shit like that. My mom would have killed me, though. I wouldn't be here today. I would not be in this interview right now.
So describe like what the meeting was like, though, like from seeing her and your guys' like interaction.
It's a blur. I can't even remember, bro. It's almost like when you get into a fight, like there's so much adrenaline, there's so much, everything's happening so fast that like any fight I've ever got in, I can barely remember what took place when it was taking place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I have bits and pieces, but I was so amped up in my mind off of all these emotions and all these, just this excitement of this 18-year buildup of waiting to meet this woman, and now I finally met her, that now I don't remember. I remember all the stuff after that day, but I don't remember that. So, I mean, bits and pieces are like coming up, I guess. I mean, I remember I remember she was I remember she was really cool with my baby's mom. I remember she was really cool with me. Dog, I can't remember that much.
You had that adrenaline
I can tell you
pumping.
everything. The adrenaline was pumping, man. And I can tell you everything that happened. Like, I could literally write a book after that day. But that day, that moment, however, those couple hours that we were down there before we actually drove back home, back to Saginaw, I don't remember anything.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's wild, man.
Was that the last time that you saw her?
No. Me and her, we've had an on and off again. Really, I mean, I love her. That's that's my biological mom. We've had an on and off again relationship um since then, and lot of stuff has happened. Um, some drama, some good stuff, everything. Just
Got
like
you.
a normal whatever. But yeah, like so. Like right now, I currently haven't spoke to her in probably 3 months. So we'll go on like hiatus where we don't talk. And um, I will say I don't blame her for it because it's a reflection of myself. And I can remember how we was talking about like how I can see, or I was wondering if we were the same, if we had the same genes or the same tendencies or anything like that. And it was like she's the same as me. She's 100% the same. Like if you're around me and if you're around me and you have my attention, even if I'm working, like, because I like engulf myself in my work, but um, if you're around me, you're gonna get my attention. But if you're away from me, it's like out of sight, out of mind. And it's the same with her. So I'm not gonna fault her for it.
Right.
She's just that type of person. Like she lives a very little life with her husband, um, their dog. She's a dog trainer, like a part-time dog trainer. So she's really good with dogs. And they live their little life and that's what they do. And they're happy. So like, and then she has her little things that she embarks on creatively because she's a creative person just like I am. And yeah, it's like I don't fault her for it. Sometimes I get mad at her, like, hey, you could give me a call or like think of me once in a while, but she could literally throw that right back at me. So
Yo,
it
the
is what it
genes
is.
is crazy that it goes beyond like what we think. You know what I mean? Like how like we think that like environmentally things like influence us to be a certain way, but
Yes.
it's like your genes pass down certain mannerisms,
Oh,
behaviors, like all these different things. It's crazy.
crazy, bro. So crazy. Like I'm so much like her. But then also being raised by my mom, like I call like that's my real mom. My mom that raised me
Right.
is my real mom. But being raised by her, not having any kind of genes, any kind of blood, nothing like that, but just being around her every day since I was a little kid, I have just the same thing with her. I have that close of a connection to where I've picked up on her mannerisms that I'm gonna have the rest of my life, and it's not in my blood. It's just all. It was a learning experience, and it's just like it slowly crept into who I was, and and I became that. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that my mom does, my real mom, the mom that raised me, that she does that is like, wow, you guys are identical. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you don't even know the half. Like I ain't even from her. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, but
Yeah.
it's the same as my pops. Like me and my pops had a similar dynamic. We were a lot alike in ways, and there's things that I still hold dear and ways that my pops was that I'm like, damn, that's something my pops would do or something like that. You know what I mean? So
Did your biological mom ever tell you like the reason why she gave you up for adoption?
yeah, she just couldn't do it at that age. That 18, she was 18 when she had me, and it was a lot of influence also from her mother. And I heard some wild shit. She was also adopted, bro. She was so we have generations
Wow.
in my family that were fucking adopted. Like, how does that happen? Like, what is the like, what's the chances? So her mom gave her up for adoption. She did the same shit I did and went and like sought her out, and they just didn't, click at all, and they didn't work out. And so my mom kind of, I feel bad for her because she had to deal with, well, damn, this woman, even if she doesn't want to do anything or have anything to do with my mom. I mean, if my mom didn't want to have anything to do with her, like my mom had to feel that feeling of, damn, my mom doesn't want anything to do with me. So she was like, well, I'm about to have this kid. I'm gonna give it up for adoption. So she gave me up for adoption, and my mom's adopted. So imagine, okay, so another funny story is like a couple years ago, you know how they got like ancestry DNA and
Right.
What's the other one? 23andMe. Well, thank God for these things because we wouldn't know shit. We would be dumb as hell as far as any of this is concerned. But those apps finally came around and helped us find not only her whole family, which is huge, and so in return mine is too, because I'm a product of her. But it helped me find who my real dad, because she didn't know. She was 18, like, she was promiscuous as a kid. I was fucking promiscuous as a kid. Like like I would, if I would, I had a baby with my baby's moms, but we were together for a while. But I could have got other girls pregnant. So
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I understand. Yeah.
that might not have known, and knew that it was me that did it. So it's like she didn't know who my pops was, and we finally found out like 2 years ago, and it sucks because he died in 2015. And if we would have had this knowledge of being able to find out, like, who these people are and where we come from, or where I come from, then I would have maybe been able to meet my dad before he died, because I met her in 98. So it literally took from 98 to 2015 for him to die. I had all that time to meet him, but we just didn't have the knowledge we do now. So
right.
Shit is crazy.
It's crazy because it seems like she knew better than anyone, like, because of her being adopted, that like, I want to give my baby the best life possible. I know I'm not ready right now. And, and then also the whole, like, I'm going to keep my information updated in case he ever wants to find me.
Yeah. And she definitely
when
did that.
She tried to meet her mom, they didn't have the best experience. So she would know better than anybody to be like, I want to at least reciprocate the feeling so that he doesn't feel how I felt, kind of thing.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, she definitely did that. I'll give that to her for sure. It's crazy too. Like when you do meet, like when I met my biological mom, her name is Robin anyway. So, just so we know who her name is. So don't keep referring to her as her.
Right.
Well, anyway, when I met Robin, I was like, so if you would have kept me, what would my name have been? And she was like, she told me it would have been, so my real name is Sean Grossman, right? And she would have told, or she said it would have been Jonathan Allen Firstle, Firstle, Ferstle. Yeah, so that's her last name. So, or her maiden name. But Jonathan Allen Firstle, I'm like, I don't look like a Jonathan Allen Firstle. But I don't. And then when I met my, I didn't like, when I met my pops, my dad that passed away in 2015, I met his family, and he's got a huge family just like my mom does. And when I met them, their last name is Johnson. So I would have been some sort of, like something Steve Johnson or some shit like that. But the funny thing is that my mom wanted to name my first name John, And then my dad's last name is Johnson. So I'd have been John Johnson. But yeah, that's just wild. But yeah, that his family though is mad cool, bro. Like super cool.
That's cool, man.
My Aunt Lori, she's brilliant.
So you're growing up in Michigan in the 80s, right?
Right.
Right. So take us through what that was like as you're walking through the streets. Like, what are you seeing and experiencing as a kid?
Well, in the 80s, as a kid, I wasn't really too much walking through the streets. I wasn't let that far off the leash at that age. You know what I'm saying? I was still I wasn't a teen yet, so I wasn't even in the double digits yet. So I was more like in the vicinity of my house. Like I could, like whatever street we lived on or whatever, I was able to, you know, go out and make friends on my street. But I wasn't like allowed to run the block or the next couple blocks over or the whole neighborhood like some kids were. You know what I mean? Like my mom was, like I said, she was strict. She was like don't go very far and be home when the motherfucking street lights turn on. And that's the rules. So I was big into like BMX bikes and like doing tricks on that type of shit, and skateboarding and stuff like that.
So you had the pegs on the joint and everything?
Pegs, bro. Oh yeah, thank you for saying that, man. I'd be asking kids, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, well, I'll be riding bikes and stuff." And I'm like, "You got the peg? You got peg? You know how to do peg tricks?" And they're like, "Nah, we don't do that." And I'm like, "Man, y'all are slipping, bro. The pegs were the best part about those tricks, man. Like, if you could do."
You had your homie hang on the back.
Oh yeah,
you guys only got one bike.
You ride someone on the handlebars and you ride someone on the peg, and there's three of y'all on a little fucking BMX bike riding through the street. Bro, those bikes were the shit, man. Like these kids need to know what that felt like.
You know, it's funny because they have that meme where they show like all the bikes on the lawn, and they say like, "This is how you knew where all the homies was at back in the day."
Bro, that's so real, bro.
That's crazy, man. But
that's the realest shit.
Yeah, man.
Because we had a guy at the end of our road. His son was probably like 4 or 5 years older than me, and he was like he was like the kid that knew exactly how to, like, he could have been professional. In my 8-year-old eyes, anyway, he could have been a pro at how all the tricks he could do and shit. And his dad would build us wooden ramps to like ride and
dope,
and jump our bike off of and shit, bro. That was like the funnest shit in the world. And peace to Mr. Mendoza. He was cool as hell, man. And yeah, Andrew Mendoza, he was good with skateboard, BMX bikes with the pegs, all the tricks and shit. So that really influenced me when I was young.
So you're really coming up more in the 90s than anything, really.
Yeah, that's when I was like, I mean, I knew music when I was the 80s, but I knew what my parents listened to. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless it was something specific that I was like, "Oh shit, mom, will you get me this?" Like, I remember, I think this was my first hip hop tape. My first actual hip hop album. Like, my first tape was, it was one of those like mixtapes out of a gas station. So back in the 80s, they had mixtapes. They had rap mixtapes on cassettes, and you could buy them for like $6 and it had like Kool Moe Dee and Ice-T and NWA and had so many people like KRS-One and yeah. So I would get those. My pops would buy me those. So that was like my introduction into like real hip hop, was those tapes. But then as a kid, I was just a kid. So of course I liked anything that was on the radio, anything that was popular, whether it be rock, pop, fucking just the hits of today, like got the top 40 type shit. So I remember the first tape my mom ever bought me that I really wanted was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And it was the one where he was talking about Freddy Krueger. And that was the main reason I wanted it, because I was already by then I was a fan of Freddy Krueger. My mom wouldn't let me watch scary movies, but when I went to my pops on the weekend, he would be like, "Yeah, get what you want. It's cool." So that was like my access to scary movies, and Freddy was always my favorite. And when I found out fucking Will Smith or Fresh Prince at that time made a song about Freddy Krueger, I was like, I gotta have that. Mom, please get that tape for me. And so yeah, that was like my introduction to rap music, were those two tapes. And then by the time I turned like 10, 11, like my introduction to what I like, see, these things were creating my palette, you know what I mean, for hip hop, of what I liked. And then when I got past 10, my dad I would be like, "Dad, can we hit the record store?" Because the record store obviously had cassettes and stuff. And I would literally go in there and, like, he's the dude that let me watch the scary movies. So if he didn't care, if I asked for him to buy me a tape with parental advisory on it. So I would get him to buy me like Public Enemy. My first tape that he ever bought me with the parental advisory was the Public Enemy joint, the joint after Fear of a Black Planet. And then fell in love with that. So that was my first real hip hop tape where I was like, yeah, I'm buying this whole album myself, and it's me that wants to buy it. Like like the Will Smith one, that was just because Freddy Krueger and it was Will Smith and it was rap and shit. But the first one was Public Enemy. Then obviously like NWA, and I remember the Ghetto Boys, shit like that. Bro, there's so many. It's ridiculous. And then my cousins were like 4 and 6 years older than me. They would have they listened to everything, but they had like a rap section of their collection and down in the basement where their rooms were. So every time I'd go over to my Aunt Linda's and they weren't there, I would steal their hip hop tapes, and I discovered so much shit from them as well. So yeah.
And when you were talking about the Freddy Krueger and everything, this was the days of like Blockbuster and shit, right? Where it's like,
oh, I don't know if Blockbuster was even popping yet. It was definitely the days of like stores with all VHSs. Nothing but VHS.
But it was an actual experience, like a full-on thing where you get excited, like I'm going in person to look at it, and then like, you know what I mean, like you got it like tangible in your hands and everything, like you know what I'm saying, like it's a different experience versus now how everything is just digital and immediate gratification, where it's like you don't almost appreciate it as much, you know what I'm saying, like where like back in the day it's like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I know exactly what you mean. It's like nowadays it's like, oh, this came out. Okay. Like Venom, the new Venom. I ain't seen that yet. I'm just like, man, I've been wanting to watch it with my son. He was here just this whole last weekend and we didn't watch it. And we were too busy doing other shit. And but yeah, like the new Venom movie, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. That's something I could watch if I get bored and feel like watching TV. But back then, it was like a ritual. It was like, okay, I'm going to dad's. Like I don't go to Dad's and not go to the video store.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't go to Dad's and not get pizza on the first night.
Exactly.
Like it's a ritual type shit. So it's like going into that store and seeing this box that you take home and play, and seeing like the cover, just like cassette tapes, like how mesmerizing they were, just looking at this cassette and like looking at the
artwork, the liner notes, all the type of stuff.
The artwork, like the artwork for I'm gonna call it Evil for Zaggin' by NWA. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's spelled backwards.
Right. No,
like,
I got you.
Yeah, on the tape, it's spelled backwards. So it's Evil for Zaggin'. But I remember looking at that tape and being like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, what and the same thing with VHS is like a Freddy movie. You would see Freddy and you would see the, like how it just, I would just be like in awe, and I'd be like, I'm about to take this home and watch it. And it was so cool. Yeah. So there's times where growing up was cool as fuck.
But you expressed like interest in music like pretty early, but like were you like into school sports, or like were you like starting to run the streets like early, like as a teenager?
Both. Extremely both as a teenager. So my mom, so to start with the first question, school sports, I was horrible at basketball, even though it's my favorite sport. I'm horrible. I ain't got the hands for it. The coordination.
It's funny how that works.
Bro, it's crazy. like dribbling and shit. Like I'm an okay shot, but like I couldn't dribble and get around somebody or like whoop whoop. And, you know what I'm saying? Like
do all the tricks and everything.
Yeah, like it. But I was really good at soccer for some reason, and that was my shit.
That takes a lot of coordination too, though.
That's like hand-eye or feet-eye coordination, and for some reason that came a lot easier for me as far as sports. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I do have really good hand-eye coordination because, like, I can draw extremely well. Like I can do art and stuff like that, and like draw comic book type shit. But I can the same hand that can hold this pencil and like make these, like do shit that other humans can't, or other people around me can't. I mean, like I can't take a basketball and dribble it enough to walk with it at the same time and get all the way from the starting point to the basket. You know what I mean? It's like, it's weird how that shit is whack. Yeah, man, because like I love Michael Jordan, and especially basketball back then, man. Like Charles Barkley and fucking Patrick Ewing, bro. Like all those guys. I was a huge basketball head back then.
So then you were saying that, but like as far as school, like were you like a real like into being a good student, or like you were focused more like on music and everything?
No, I was focused more on, I wouldn't say music yet. Music was just something that I could do at that point. At like my elementary days, when I was in elementary school, and even my early teens, I was just like say I'd be out cutting the grass or doing some chores or some shit like that. Or just anything involving music. Like I was like, wow, I can keep up with everything they're saying. I got like, I didn't even know what to call it at that time, but I was just like I can mimic everything they're saying and everything they're doing rhythmically or melodically for the most part, exactly like they're doing it. So I was like, well, I love doing music just for the simple fact of that I can like, mimic it like that. But drawing and art was always like my first love. So if you caught me in the classroom, I was never doing no kind of work. I was always drawing or something. And I was never listening, never paying attention. I never did good in school, bro. I was always fucking off doing, if it wasn't something that I wanted, then it was like I don't care. I don't give a fuck about it. I'm going to sit through this whole class and not pay attention to shit. I'm just going to draw this cool ass picture and go to the next class and do the same thing, or just be a dickhead and interrupt the whole class and crack jokes and shit like that. But yeah, like
you strike me as that type of person that you would be kind of like the class clown kind of.
I don't strike you, or I do?
No, you do. You do strike me as that type, yeah.
Yeah, I was, bro. I definitely was. I did anything to make motherfuckers laugh back in the day, even if it was just retarded. But anyway, yeah. So like, but then I got to be like a teenager, and I was wanting to do stuff after school that was like, my mom. Remember how I said she was very strict? So she's always like, you better catch that motherfucking bus home and come home and do your schoolwork, and then that's it. And like, almost like live this life of fucking solitude. Like, I wasn't allowed to go hang out with my friends because she didn't have very good opinions of them. She thought they was like hoodlums and shit. And I'm like, all we're doing is just chilling uptown. Like, we're just, the school's uptown, so we're going uptown. We're hanging out. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't doing shit. We ain't getting into trouble. But in her eyes, I was being disobedient, and she had an extremely short fuse for any of that. So at 14, she was like, oh, you want to disobey me and you want to live the life you want to live? Well, you're going to go live with your pops, who at 14. Now, my dad at this time, he was completely off into a party like he was like Eddie Murphy, like, my girl wants to party all the time. Like, that's literally all he fucking did, bro. So anyway, I still don't understand this about my mom, why she made this decision, because she's a very sound woman. She like very smart, very intelligent. She always thinks of the right thing to do. But she was like, nah, I don't care what the outcome is of how he raises you or anything like this, or how, like, she knew just the type of life that he lived, that he wasn't gonna give a fuck. I was going from complete and utter strictness to living up at 14, living a life of like, I can stay out as late as I want. I can leave for as long as I want. I could stay at a friend's house and not even call him for like a week. I could sneak his liquor, because like by then he had become a full-blown functioning alcoholic who always kept liquor. He, like I said, he dabbled in substances and shit like that. So yeah, I did steal his liquor a lot. And she sent me to live with him at 14, and I took full advantage of the fact that I didn't have any kind of boundaries or nothing. Like, I could do whatever I want. So that's when I started running the streets. That's when I started getting into trouble. That's when I was just like, my life changed for the, I'm not going to say the worst, man. I will always look at it like, damn, I could have had better. Like, if my mom would have held on to me and maybe was a little bit not more strict, but just figured out patient, a different way to do shit with me instead of just the strictness, because I didn't respond to that. But like, I don't, moving with my dad, like, I love my dad. Rest in peace. He was one of my favorite people in the world. But yeah, I see that now that wasn't the best decision. But anyway, I forgot what I was gonna say, but it's just,
well, you were getting into trouble in the streets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So at this time, like, What are you doing in the street though?
In the street, my main the one of my main things that I did was the breaking into people's shit with credit card, because I learned that from having to break into his house with a credit card. Like if he was gone, he was like, "Here, I'm gonna teach you something." Like if like so he taught me how to get into his house, and I'm like, "You just unlocked everything for me as a bad kid." You know what I mean? So I'm gonna, you know, break into other shit and do what it do. So yeah, like and then I never, thankfully, I never got off into drugs and shit like that. I mean, I smoked weed and shit like that, but I never got off into like fucking pills like Vicodins or coke, or even though my dad, he did coke, he did the white shit. Um, but I never did any of that shit. I just drank. I drank like a lot of, like he always had the cheapest whiskey around. It's called Beams 8 Star. And he always bought that. It was literally like $10 a half gallon. So there was always shit to drink. So me and my friends would be like, "Y'all want to get drunk? We can, steal a, a pint out of that half gallon, and he won't know the difference." So we would always do that. And yeah, running the streets, out here being a little promiscuous ass, you know what I'm saying? Fucking breaking into people's shit, breaking into people's cars. Um, never really on some violent shit. I was never like, I was never in a gang or nothing. I never did no shit like that. I knew a lot of my friends they were like in gangs and shit. I was just like, I kind of was just like, what's the point? I mean, like, this is it, but I never like disrespected it, but I never, did that shit. So, but just by affiliation, I was still basically in the shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if six of
'Cause
you,
that's who they see you with and everything.
right, if you're with like 10 of your homies and 6 of them rep like a certain whatever, then by affiliation, you guys rep the other 4 of y'all rep that shit too. So
Right.
even if you don't, even if you're like, I'm not involved in this at all. Like I don't rep shit. I don't wear a rag. I don't, cock my hat to the left. I don't do nothing. So it's like, it was still, yeah, growing up, man. Like, and what I look at it like, all the negativeness of growing up, like all the freedom that I had, that sometimes I look back and I'm like, damn, I wish a different decision would have been made. And maybe I would have made something of myself as far as like, I'm happy with what I'm doing with my life with this music. And I'm happy that I'm so blessed that I'm good at it. And I'm thankful. But I could have been something else too. And I never explored those options because, I was a dickhead and I allowed my mom to kick me out, and I just rolled with it and went to my dad. And it's kind of like I'm glad that happened though at the same time, because the time that I lived with my mom growing up, I got all of that, that small town lifestyle, that state of mind. And then I went to my dad's and I got this inner city kid state of mind, like that was fucking up. And so it's like I have both cultures, or whatever cultures, I don't know if you want to call it that, but I have
It's
both
the lifestyle. You got 2 different lifestyles.
2 different lifestyles
right.
mixed in me that I would say rather balances me out pretty fucking good. You know what I mean? Like, I can get on this wavelength, I can get on this wavelength, and it's like I can communicate with people, and
it just makes you more of a well-rounded person that you could hold conversations with people a lot better.
Definitely, absolutely. And so and that's the main thing. Like that, I'm glad that being 44 years old, I'm looking back on it. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that I went through that, all that shit, because now I am who I am. If I would have been like real one-sided, like somebody that just doesn't understand, like I could have been like some fucking kid that, or I could have been some dude that, you're walking down the street and you're all nervous to walk next to somebody or some shit and be like, get out of this guy's way. And it's just like, fuck that. It's just another dude. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Or I could have been way over here. The innocent kid could have completely took over, and I could have been the guy walking down the street that would do something to somebody. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
don't know, just weird, like, evaluation of what I think the outcome would have been if, like, I would have swayed completely this way or completely this way. But that's whatever happened to me was just in the cards. You know what I mean?
Right. Didn't you eventually get into like dealing and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, but it wasn't a means to, like, it was just a means to make some money. It wasn't like,
Was it as a teenager or that was like later on in life?
no, that was more as a teenager when I had, well, no, I mean, no, it was also in my 20s, but it was more, I wasn't trying to be the man. I wasn't trying to be like the guy that everybody went to for whatever. I was just like, yo, let me get this and let me off this real quick and break it up and make as much money off of it as possible, like double it or something, or triple it, or if I can, and get some more money in my pocket. So yeah, like I wasn't never like the big fucking the big drug dealer. That was never my
Right.
like aspirations. I was always too into music for that to like, because it to run the streets that much, as far as like out here serving everybody, that was taking too much time from my artistry. So
Right.
even though I did it, it was like on some, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get this shit off right here, and then I'll make the money I need to make. I might do it again. I might even just take a whole time period and be like, all right, this is what I'm gonna focus on now, just so I can get back to the music and be a little bit more comfortable.
What do you think that whole experience like taught you or shaped you like as a person?
The whole experience of like selling drugs,
Yeah.
it just it definitely like lets you understand people more. It was like almost kind of like learning business without learning business. You know what I mean? Like you're learning the straight side of business, but you're still learning it. It's still, like mathematic, and it's also like socials
Supply
and
and demand.
politics and shit like that. You're learning all these things because you're having to deal with these people, and you're learning people's, like whether someone's like a flat out fiend, whether they're like a functioning whatever, whether it's just one of your homies and you're just selling them a bag. You learn about people in a way that you don't if you're not into that or doing that. You know what I'm saying? You learn how to read people a lot easier too, I believe. And I feel like I was blessed. I was already blessed with like really good intuition, and so I felt like that kind of just strengthened it a little bit.
Did your dad know that you was in the streets doing that?
Yeah, well, we never had a talk about it. He never like confronted me about it, but he would see that some of his coat was missing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he had to have seen it because I would take as much as I possibly could that to the point where he had to see it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
Got you. Yeah.
he had
He's not
to.
dumb.
Right. I remember the first time I ever saw my dad do. Well, I found my dad's stash, and I was like, wow, my dad does coke, and I was probably like 12 at the time. And
you knew what it was?
well, it was white and it was powder, so yeah, it had to have been coke. Like, I mean, heroin don't look like that. Heroin looks brown.
Right, but you were saying that your mom was really like, strict on you, so I don't know like what you were exposed to at what age and whatnot.
Oh, no, I knew what was up. It was, my mom was strict with me on what I could and couldn't do with when I would live with her. Like, she wouldn't let me go hang out with my friends uptown because she thought that we were getting into trouble and doing dumb shit. And so even though like she kept me secluded, she didn't keep me secluded in a way where I didn't know what was up. She was just trying to keep me away from that shit. Because she was right too, though. Like, we were smoking weed and we were smoking cigarettes and we was drinking and shit like that. So God bless her. She was trying to keep me away from the shit that I was really doing. But I would act like, man, we ain't doing shit. Like, we just going uptown. I'm in 7th grade. Like, what the fuck? I ain't doing. Nobody does drugs, man. Like, what the fuck? And of course we was. Who's got a? Can we get someone buy a joint like before school ends somehow so we can go uptown and smoke. You know what I mean? Like, it was that. So I knew what coke was. I knew what heroin was. Didn't really know what pills were yet at that young.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then just, by the time I was 20, I still lived with my dad. I remember when I was like, my homeboy Jared was over. He was staying the night, and I was living with my dad at that time. My dad was having not a get together, but he had his homies over from work because, like I said, he worked at the shop GM, and I remember the first time I ever seen my dad do coke, and he had a mirror out. It was liquor and coke. He had his whiskey and shit. He had like maybe 3 of his friends over, and I was bored. So me and Jared, we ain't have shit to do. Jared kind of stayed over because at this point we lived in a small ass condo, and the living room was like attached to everything except for the kitchen and the bed and the bathroom. So it was like a dining room, living room situation where like everything's all happening in the same room. They weren't like, oh, we're gonna go in here and chill and do grown up shit. You know what I mean? Like my dad was like,
they did it in the wide open.
Yeah, my dad, I couldn't believe it. I was like, my dad actually is doing coke in front of me right now. So me being kind of curious as to what fuck, like, how do you do that? What are you guys doing? And I mean, I don't know, maybe some shit is not meant to be talked about or said, or like maybe it should just be left alone, but fuck it. Like he of course he'd never let me do any kind of coke or no shit like that, or he would let me drink and smoke cigarettes, but that's about it. But anyway, I remember they was passing the little mirror around with lines chopped up on it, and they had a razor blade and money because they rolled it up and that's what they ooh with.
Right.
So they're passing around the table, and when it gets back to my dad, and while he's talking, because they're all bullshitting while this is all going on, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, how far can I get? with fucking with whatever this is. And you know what I'm saying? So I grabbed a razor blade and I'm like mixing up the little coke that was on the mirror in front of these four grown men. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they just didn't care. Nobody said shit. So I just kept doing it. And I remember like chopping up lines, and that's it. I just watched them do coke. And me and Jared eventually like came to the table, and we just hung out with my dad and his three other friends, and they did coke and shit like that. But I was so surprised that my dad was actually like letting me hold that razor blade and like fuck with the coke. You know what I mean? Almost, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I was like cutting lines for him, and I was like, I was watching what he was doing, and I was like, oh, I see what you're doing. So here, let me cut this for you. This is your line. This is another line. This is another line, and then that's it. That was my first encounter with like someone doing coke, and it was my pops.
And how old were you at that time?
I had to have been 13 or 14, maybe 12, maybe. I think I was either in 6th or 7th grade. So 12, 13. I wasn't 14 in 6th in 6th or 7th grade. So, or was I? It had to have been 6th or 7th grade. It was probably 7th grade.
So I was going to ask you this question later on, but since we're kind of like already within this area, you wrote a song called Dad.
I did.
That's released off your 2001 album, Hungry, right? And that song is pretty insightful and emotional. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of hard to listen to. I'm not going to lie to you. It was kind of, because like it's very vivid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can really kind of see the stuff that you're describing, and it sounded like, I know that you said that you love your dad so much and everything, but at the same time it kind of seemed like you guys kind of had a little bit of a volatile relationship too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we was at each other's throats constantly because I'm sorry, finish with my bad, man. I got a bad habit.
No, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. That's
my dad's day consisted of, he'd wake up extremely like fucking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, you know what I mean? Like the nicest guy in the world. Like, hey, son, how you doing, man? Like, come here, come sit down and talk to your dad. Like this and that. Like he was the warmest guy in the world, and it was just like, oh my God, you're an incredible fucking person when you're sober. You're incredible. Like you're not just cool, you're incredible. You have the biggest heart. But then he would start drinking immediately. Like when he woke up, he'd be like, okay, I'm gonna have some coffee, drink it with this, put some booze in the coffee. And then he was always just booze and water, like the whiskey and water. And as the day started to go by, my dad's attitude just started to decline and decline and decline and decline and decline until he until he passed out at the night. So he was, he went from this wonderful person in the morning, like his true colors. You know what I'm saying? You could see this guy was just amazing. Like he was just so good to be around.
That's who he really wanted to be.
That's who. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he wanted to be that. That's just who he was by default. When he was sober, that's the guy he was. He was heartwarming. He was thoughtful. He was everything that comes along with just being a nice person. But by the middle of the day and getting into the night, he was like, he wasn't abusive. He was never, I mean, he was physically abusive for sure, but he never tried to like fuck with me or fight me or put hands on me or nothing. Like he was never like that, but he was verbally like crazy abusive. In a sense of where he would just be mean as fuck from the alcohol. It would change his brain. And it's like, I always look at people, when people are like, oh man, I get aggressive when I drink tequila or some shit like that. I'm like, shut up, man. Like, you get like alcohol does that. It's not a specific type. I don't believe that anyway. I don't believe that people get aggressive off of one certain type of thing. I think that's all in people's heads. But whatever. That's my little argument towards that. But what we're really talking about is alcohol just does that in general, and the way it would make him think and feel and react to things. Like, he was just mean, bro. He was a mean ass drunk, and that's what he chose to be for the majority of the day, was drunk. He would be like, he'd get up, start drinking until he passed out, and that's just how
And
it
he
was.
would work. He would work intoxicated too.
He would. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He lost his job. No. Let me take that back. He was forced to retire because he retired at, I think he was younger than I am now when he retired, because he got caught drinking on the job, and they gave him 2 outs. They were like, we can fire you or you can retire right now and start receiving your pension. Because, like working at Steering GM, General Motors,
the good old days of that pension.
He was, but he was getting paid a lot more to work. So it kind of fucked him over when he had to start living off a pension. Even though his pension was good, it was like, wow, you're getting this much a month.
I'm just saying, nowadays they don't give pensions like, in general anymore for a lot of places that you work, So those were the days where like that was an actual thing.
He got that pension. He waited. Oh God, man. We in that household, man, we was waiting so patiently for that first of the month to come around, because that's the day he got paid. And that's when he got paid his full pension. It's not like they gave him to him in increments. They gave his full pension to him. So when he first got it, boom, we could go grocery shopping. Boom, we could go get something to eat. Like, let's go to let's go to a nice restaurant. Like, boom, let's do this. Maybe even go to the mall and get some new clothes or some shit. And then the rest of it, I swear to God, was liquor and cocaine. Liquor and cocaine. Mm. Liquor and cocaine. That's, that's how he... Oh, man, it's crazy. There's so many stories in my pops, like all this shit. I could tell so many fucking stories. But yeah, he... where were we at?
Well, the song Dad, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's one thing that really stands out is that you would come out at 3 a.m. to talk to him while he was already knocked out and everything. And it seemed like that was the time that you could really tell him how you felt.
Oh, yeah. I was like talking, like beating a dead horse, but at least I could be honest with him. It's almost talking to someone that's in a coma or something. Like, they're not going to hear you, but at least you get to whatever kind of
relief that you get from hearing yourself say it out loud, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if you you can't do it when he's drunk, or else he's going to come at you like shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, extremely defensive. And you can't do it when he's just waking up in the morning and he's got this, like, he's not drunk. And for some reason, my pops never got hangovers. Like, he never was sick. He was never, like, I never ever seen my dad be like, oh, I'm feeling good. Like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? My dad, it was just such a routine to where he would wake up great and then start drinking through the day and just slowly decline until he passed out. And then the next day was the same thing. And so, yeah, like, there was nothing I ever wanted to do. I would never want to start a fight with him to when he was feeling good in the morning, when he was acting nice and being cool and being his normal self. You know what I mean? Like what he was meant to be if he had never started drinking alcohol. So
It seems like it's kind of like a mind fuck because it's like Jekyll and Hyde basically. Like in the morning, he's a completely different person and he's who you want him to be, right? Like he's the ideal version of a father, like who you want in your life. And it's like, how can I tell you that you're treating me like I'm a piece of shit when you're drunk and stuff, but right now, like you're so enjoyable to be around. Like I just want to enjoy this moment.
Absolutely, bro. Those are the moments where my dad would be like, "Come here, man, give me a hug, man," or he'd be like, "Sean," like because he used to call me Shawnee all the time, and he'd be like, "Shawnee, come, come sit down, come talk to me, man, come talk." Like you could hear the what's the word? How genuine he really actually wanted to talk to me. Like I think of how I am with my son. You know what I'm saying? Like, come here, man. Like, I do the same shit. I don't drink or do nothing like that, but I'm like, come here, man. Like, come talk to me or I'll fuck with him. And, he's 7. So we'll wrestle and we'll do all that type of shit. And it's just like, I remember my dad being like that with me in the morning, not wrestling. I was too old for that, but like he would fuck with me, he would joke with me, he would be like a dad, you know what I mean? And then as the day went by, it turned it into some darker shit. So where he was like, "Oh, fuck you." Like but you know what I can say though is my dad, even in his poverty of spending his check in the first 10 days of getting it and fucking the next 20 days of the month were broke as fuck. In that and in his, the most of the day being drunk and belligerent and upset, you know what I'm saying? Being that guy, I can also say, just like I can say about my mom, there was nothing my dad, if I needed it, there was nothing my dad wouldn't do. My dad has bought me cars. I mean, not like he ain't go out and buy me new cars and no shit like that, but he's like,
he was there for you when you needed him.
He was absolutely my mom and my dad. Even if we were having the most what you call it, like toxic relationship, because there's been toxicness through with me and her and me and him separately,
right?
But if I would have needed something, or if I would have wanted something so bad because I needed it or some shit, I don't know, like there was very little times that my dad would say no, like, nah, fuck that, I ain't gonna do that for you. He would, if I caught him at the right time in the morning and made him understand why I was asking for what I was asking for, whether it was like something for a car or some shit like that, or just being like, yeah, let's go do something, man. Like we've been bummy as hell. Like we need new clothes, dude. Like let's go to the mall. we go to the mall and he'd buy me like a fucking new Adidas outfit or some shit, like a zip up outfit, like with the
right.
And he would get some
tracksuits.
Yeah, like, but I used to love Adidas back in the day. But yeah, like he would never. He never left me hanging, man. I'm gonna tell you a crazy story about my pops. How big his fucking heart was, dude. And it's a weird story to tell, but I tell this to anybody that I know that wants to know about my dad and how big of a fucking heart he had. And I don't care if this makes me look crazy or whatever, but I just want people to know that, like, regardless of any of the shit that I ever talk about my dad, or if I ever put him in a bad light like I am right now, he was still such a fucking wonderful human being with the biggest heart. And I feel like that's where I get, even though the majority of the time I was around this guy that really wasn't him, and he was an asshole. He was belligerent. He was verbally abusive. He was, you know what I'm saying? He was these things. He was not likable at all. We were always butting heads. But I was 19 years old, right? My kid had just been born. Like I said earlier when we were talking about my biological mom, like I was a promiscuous kid. Like I was, that was the thing. Pulling chicks was like the pastime. Like that was obviously for any of us, right? Like
Right.
so anyway, but back then I was so stupid. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna, fuck unprotected out here, just hitting anything, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was the stupidest shit. Like, I was having fun while I was doing it, but and my conscience hit me when I was 19, and it was like, man, you got with a lot of girls, bro. Like, you probably got something. And then my mind just started spiraling, and it was like, you probably got AIDS or some shit, man. Like you, and then I started, because I'll be the first to admit I'm a fucking what's it called, hypochondriac.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this, I thought that I was like sick, and I was even going to the health department and getting, like, I got like 4 tests, and something was wrong with my brain. Maybe it was God trying to teach me a lesson or something, but all my tests were coming back negative, and the doctor was like, bro, you're good. So I was like 19 at the time, and it was during the summer, and I couldn't believe the tests for some reason. Like, I was like, no, something might have happened. Like, knowing me, I'm the one with the worst luck that would have something happen where, like, test results got switched. And so I would go back and get another test. And all in all, through the whole summer, this 3 months of summer, I got 3 tests or 4 tests saying that, no, you don't got the shit. You're good. But for some reason, I couldn't believe that. And I was a nervous wreck, bro. I think it was like movies like Kids, like how that one kid, Telly, or not Telly, or whatever his name is, he had the HIV or some shit. Do you remember that movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it was things like that made me kind of like rethink how I had been living my life since I lost my virginity up until 19. And I'm just like, damn, I gotta have something. I probably got the worst shit. And you can ask my friends, bro, my friend MC and my sis, Alana, not my real sister, but I call her sis. Like, they lived with us at the time, and there was a couple. So they wasn't trying to like talk to me and like calm me down and shit like that. But I was so fucking paranoid. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I lost like 30 pounds that summer because I worried myself so sick that I actually got sick, bro. Like, I was sick to my stomach. I couldn't eat. All I wanted to do was like drink water, like, liquids, shit like that. And every night, like, so by then we had moved out of the condo and moved into another crib. And for some reason, I was 19 and I was acting like a little fucking kid, bro. I didn't want to sleep alone. And my dad he slept on the couch. So imagine how small a couch is. And I'm not I'm big now, but like when I was 19, I was a little dude. I'm only 5'6". So, but he would let me. I'd be like, Dad, can I just lay on the couch with you, man? Like, just so I could feel like I'm close. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's like, yeah, absolutely. Come on, man. And so he would let me lay on the fucking couch next to him, and I'm sitting here and I can't sleep. And I'm almost like to the point where I'm shaking, or I was shaking, because I'm so scared about, like, it was a constantness of being afraid, and for no reason, but I was still afraid. And like, what other guy is gonna let you do that? You know what I'm saying? That was my dad. He was like and then, he might like pat me on the shoulder and just be like, "Hey man, it's okay, Shawnee. It's gonna be okay." Like, he realized how fucking twisted this shit made me feel, and how sick I was at the moment, just from what I was going through mentally. And yeah, so that's my dad. He wasn't the guy that was like, you know, you can't lay on this couch with me. First of all, it's too little. Second of all, like, nah, man, you're 19 years old, bro. Like, get out of here. Like, he literally, as an adult, let me lay opposite of him on the couch, and it was just like, wow, this shows his character, his true character. You know what I mean? And that's the way like, if my son was 19, that's what I would do for him if he was in a situation like that, where he was scared out of his mind for some reason. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I would comfort him as much as I possibly could to make him be able to get through it. And that's what my pops did. So he does have a huge heart, you know what I'm saying? Or he
It
did
seems
have a
like
huge.
it seems like you kind of got like obsessive compulsive kind of like thoughts at times.
At time, yeah, bro. I mean, I think I was diagnosed with a little bit of that. I definitely was diagnosed with anxiety, um, obsessive compulsive disorder, and depression. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I was, and then when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, that attention deficit
Yeah, I
shit.
kind of picked up on that because like I can tell by like the way that you get like on like one track minded on certain things, or like the way
Shut
that you
up,
talk about
man.
certain stuff.
Bro, I swear to God. And I apologize to whoever's
No, no,
listening
no,
to
no, no.
this.
I don't think that everybody picks up on that. It's just because like I study psychology in
Okay.
college. Like that's my what my degree is in. So if you analyze our conversation so far, you can see why my questions are geared the way that they are.
I understand. Okay. That's cool. This is actually a great conversation or interview. And even the things that you know about, like you're just as good as what's his name? Sean on fucking Hot Ones. You know what I'm talking about? The
Oh yeah.
everybody says he's such a great host because he like studies his people, like, that he's interviewing, that are going through the whole wing challenge. But anyway, yeah, man. So I apologize to anybody that's listening to this, or anybody that's ever heard an interview from me, or that ever will hear interviews from me. I am long-winded. I get lost in what I'm saying. I'll come back and be like, what were we talking about again? Because I'll just go like, bro. So
No, but
Panda,
you know, it's really helpful though, because like I'm a type of person of like the way that I structure my interviews. I like a lot of details because I'm trying to get the interview that nobody's ever gotten before. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll watch like every single interview that someone's ever done or something like that, and then ask the question that should have been asked. Like a lot of people ask on the surface kind of questions.
That's fucking dope.
A lot of people ask on the surface questions, and then like you kind of like reply the same thing for every single interview. And I know the guest has got to be tired of saying the same shit over and over again. You know what I mean? So like when I watch an interview, I'll be like, this person should have asked this follow-up question. So I'm going to phrase my question so they have to respond in that way.
Damn,
not just
dude.
respond with it. You know what I mean? Like, so
that's dope,
I always
bro.
try to get that. So a lot of times when people watch my interviews, they always go, man, like I can't believe that you got like those kind of details out of the person to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
even like if you listen to my voice, like I talk soft for a reason when we're doing an interview. That's not how I normally talk like in real life necessarily, but it's like I talk that way to make the person feel comfortable.
Yeah, like a therapist or something, like someone that's
right. Like kind of like that's like the approach, because that's what you want. You want the person to feel as comfortable as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like
absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool that you like structure it that way. Everything, because
like I could tell that you were surprised that I even knew about that song, Dad. Like when I brought it up, you were like, wow, like,
well,
damn, you went back.
And the way you led up to it too, we was talking about my dad, and you was asking me questions and shit like that, and then you were like, yo, so that song, and I'm just like, hold up, like nobody's ever gone that far back in my catalog of music to men.
Bro, I was on your MySpace.
We was wait, you mean you just went and looked at my MySpace?
Yeah, I saw like how much songs you have on your MySpace from back in the day and everything.
Damn, I don't even know how to maneuver through I don't think I've been on MySpace in years. I wouldn't even know what to click on.
You can't play the songs anymore for some reason, but like, and like your picture is gone, but like I see like all the songs that you had on there. It was a grip of songs that you had on there too.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's dope.
So you started really taking music serious in 1998, right? When you were like 18?
Yes. Yep. That's when I was like, man, I'm starting to become a beast at this, and I'm going to actually do it because of that. That was the main thing. I was like I said, like my whole life growing up, I knew music. I understood it. I didn't know what I was understanding. Like I couldn't put it into words, but I could definitely like
second nature for you.
Yeah, I could definitely keep up with whatever artist was rapping. I could rap every single lyric on time with them, with the same kind of conviction and emotion that they was rapping with. I wasn't like I didn't sound all stiff and shit. I sounded like, like I just, I don't know. It just it just came out really fluently. And then, yeah, I just had rhythm for some reason, and I was able to mimic people. So when I went in at 18, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a rap. I'm literally writing raps now, and I'm writing, these are dope, and everyone is telling me they're dope. So that's when I started. And I started with this small, actually this large record label, or not large, but large in the community in Saginaw. It's called Ghetto Records. And they had like 30 artists signed to them. And I was the only white boy. Wow. It was me and my homeboy, Kane. And Kane's half white, half black. And one day I used to take Kane to school every day. And one day when I was picking him up, I was like, yo, let's go in there. Like, look, there's people standing outside. Let's go into Ghetto Records and just tell them that we rap. And you know what I'm saying? We never even talked. This was a spur of the moment decision, but we both definitely knew how to rap. And we would, at that time, God, what was out and popular? Nas's I Am album was popular. Like 3 6 Mafia. We listened to so much shit. But anyway,
Jay was starting to get popular at that time, 98,
yeah,
right?
Yep. Pun,
DMX.
X.
Yeah.
Yep. So we went in there and we were like, look, we want to fuck with y'all. Like, how can we get down? And they signed us. And I signed a contract with them. I don't know what the fuck it said, but
he said, I don't know what it said.
I was like, hey, I'm part of a record label and I'm 18 years old. I'm 18 years old, and
let's preface this, right? Because back in the day, it was like that was the goal. If I get signed, I'm good. Or if I rap on the radio, I'm good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that was like the goal, right?
Yep. And I was too young to know that this wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it wasn't gonna be
end all be all.
Yeah, I thought that, we're down now. It's only a matter of time before we make it. We're gonna be, the biggest things in the world. And And I'm still, 44 years old, right here, right now, sitting here trying to figure that out. Like, how can I get bigger? How can I get my music out there more? Shit like that. So it's crazy.
So, but you're a singer, rapper slash producer. What came first?
Rapping, absolutely. Well, rapping came first. I mean, I always knew a little bit how to sing. Like I said, I could match what the people on the radio were doing or the people that I listened to, just my collection of tapes and shit like that. And I was definitely way better with rhythm than I was with being like a perfect singer. Like I wouldn't consider myself like a singer. I'm a guy that like can come up with melodies and make something sound cool. And, but like when it comes, like I'm not going to be like the guy that blows everybody away at karaoke night or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good enough to be a singer to do it, but I'm not like my homeboy Amor Morosa who lives here in Saginaw. He's fucking phenomenal. That dude is like, that's what he was born to do. If he does anything else with his life, he's fucking retarded. But anyway.
So what were your biggest influences though?
At what time?
Like during this time that we're talking about, like at 18, like what were your biggest influences musically?
So at 18, my biggest influences was Nas, definitely Nas. It's always been Nas for me.
M is like, Nori, wow, okay. But M at this time, he didn't blow up yet because he comes out really at 99, right?
Came out
but in Michigan, he was buzzing at this time, though.
No, he had came out because I remember his album came out before. That was basically what solidified in my mind, like, okay, you're going to be a motherfucking rapper because that white guy right there is a rapper and he's cold as hell. And you're not too far off from him. Like, you're pretty good. So that's like the sense that I was making in my head to where I was.
Which album are we talking, though?
The
because
first one,
Slim Shady LP comes out in 99.
See, I had it in 98. I don't know how.
Oh, no, there was the EP. There was the EP that came out first.
I had the full album. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if maybe it was the end of the year. It was definitely wintertime when we went and got signed. It was, I remember there being snow on the ground, but that album came out and it definitely influenced my decision to be like, I'm gonna be a motherfucking rapper.
It did come out in February of 99, so that's like right at the beginning.
Oh, then there it is. Yeah, there you go. So February 99.
But you gotta remember the singles come out way before and everything before the album drops. So, I mean, obviously you.
Well, I remember hearing, so Kane, the dude I was talking about, my homie, he told me, he was like, man, I heard this white rapper on MTV or BET. I heard this white dude rapping and he was kind of dope, man, but he was kind of corny at the same time. And this was Kane's take on him. He didn't really like him. I was like, who does he sound like? Compare him to somebody, because I hadn't heard him yet. And I remember the weirdest thing he said. He reminds me of the dude that had the song, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller.
I wish I was a baller.
And I'm like, where? There's this white dude that sounds like that guy. Like, I gotta hear him. But back then you couldn't, the only way to hear him is to catch the video. Like, he wasn't, I guess I could have heard him on the radio, but I don't even know if it was on the radio at that point, but it was being played.
Wait, so you didn't know about Infinite back in 96?
No, not until I learned these older things as after I learned of Eminem, Slim Shady LP. So
got you. Okay.
It's like I had to go backwards. And luckily I know a guy in Detroit who had a hip hop label and was a distributor for a lot of hip hop groups in Detroit. And he was also a manufacturer for albums and stuff. So my first real album, we went to him and he manufactured it. And all the times we ever went down there, he would like put us up on Detroit hip hop. I'm like, what can you send me home? His name's Mark Kemp. Shout out to Mark, my dog, Mark Kemp. But I was like, Mark, what can you put me up on to go home with? And he'd be like, oh, here, check this out. And one time he gave me he was like, here, this is Eminem before Eminem, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he gave me the Infinite
before
tape.
Dre and everything, yeah.
Yeah, he gave me like a dub of the Infinite tape. And I was just like, holy fuck, that, like, Eminem changed my life. And then he just changed my life again with how good he was rhyming on that album. And it was like I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Eminem on that album is the epitome of technical rhyming. Like,
right,
not
bro.
pun,
The multi-syllables.
Yes, the multis, bro.
The multi-syllables on the song Infinite,
fucking
in general,
ridiculous,
my pen and paper
bro.
calls a chain reaction to get your brain relaxing.
A zaniac, a maniac in action, a brainiac in fact, son. You mainly lack attraction. You looking zany whack when just a fraction of my tracks run. My rhyming skills got you climbing hills. I travel through your mind until your spine like siren drills. Dog, he was.
But you know, they criticized him for sounding too much like Nas and AZ on that album.
And AZ,
right? Yeah.
And to me, Nas and AZ were like two, especially Nas. I mean, I loved AZ too, but Nas was like, ever since, like before, like when I was 17, I was making the transition to listening to like East Coast lyrical shit. I didn't come up on a lot of lyrical shit. I came up on more like local. I like really gangster, aggressive, like or wicked type shit. So, are you from Michigan?
Right. You liked horrorcore, right?
I guess you could say for the most part, I like horrorcore or just really gangster, darker sounding shit like Dayton Family. Like Dayton Family was or Bone. Bone was a perfect example of what the type of shit that I liked as a teenager until I made a switch to liking nothing but East Coast lyrical shit. Like for some reason, as I got older and smarter, my brain was developing. It was like, okay, now you're gonna listen to this shit that actually has intricacies to them, like rhyming patterns and punchlines and all this cool shit that goes along with East Coast hip hop. You know what I mean? So
why the name Astray?
Well, for one, I was adopted. Like immediately, my mom didn't even see me when I came out of her. Like she had some over, they took me, and I was out. Like they took me out of the room. So since day one, I've been on a different path than I was supposed to be on. You know what I mean? So I'm astray from that original path. And the other one is I've never been good at school, shit like that. I've never been good at things like that. Like my mind just wasn't interested in it. So why not take what I am interested in and become the best at it? You know, or at least, you know, somewhere around there, the best. I'm not calling myself the best by any means, but just like become as fucking
the best that you can be.
Exactly. The best that I could possibly be at it and make my own way. So go astray from...
So you basically chose the name because of you always taking like an unorthodox kind of path.
Absolutely. Bro, you hit it on the fucking nails. On the head, the dartboard, whatever you want to call it. That's exactly the definition for my name when it comes to me.
Yeah,
SoundClick.
so your earlier albums you were not producing yet, right? Because I've heard in interviews that you said they used to get your beats off of SoundClick.
Yeah. God, fuck SoundClick, bro. I mean, nothing against SoundClick for real, but I almost had a deal with TVT, and my dumb ass recorded my whole album over stolen SoundClick beats, and yeah, it didn't go through.
Right, because you said that like you only had like one original beat off of that, right? That you could actually.
Yep, it was the song "Ride," and made by Enix Buchanan, one of fucking Saginaw's best, one of the best producers I've ever came across. No, in the world.
What year is this though that you lose out on the deal?
Around 2004 or 5. I think we dated that album as 2005, but it really came out in '04, just so it would have like, because the main way I sold it was hand to hand or distribution or in stores, consignment. So it was like, we want people to think this is new for as long as possible. So we dated it a year later. You know
So
what I
this
mean?
is like after Hunger, right? Because Hunger is 2001.
Hungry is
Or
2001.
Hungry, sorry, Hungry.
Yep. Yep. Hungry's too. Well, my debut is
99.
99, 2000. Hungry's 2001, and then what's it called? Who's Coming With Me? My third was 2004. Yep. And then that same year, 2004, when I got denied the deal from TVT because we did a nice amount on the Billboard charts. We hit number 67 for hip hop and R&B, and then we hit like number 5 on the Heat Seekers charts. So that made that we had labels calling us, and TVT was interested in us, and this is like the label that Lil Jon and the East Side Boys and Yin Yang Twins and Pitbull and those guys. So we went to New York and met them and this and that, but ultimately, like, they, I guess they were offering us this horrible deal, and I was letting my manager at the time, like, I was the creative one. He was the one with all the business smarts and the strategies of like promotion and like how to get my name bigger. Shout out to one of my best friends, Nick Spalding. He did all that, and so I guess they offered us a deal, but it was too horrible to take. I would have been like, it just would have been really bad. And I don't know like exactly what the deal entailed, but I remember me and my homies, like Mag 7. There's 7 of us. It's our rap group. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really pursue that shit anymore, but we still have like that camaraderie as a group of friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys will be my friends till the day I die. And they used to help me, like they used to hype me. It was like we were each other's entourage. You know what I'm saying? We was always together. So they used to come sell CDs with me in the malls, and then none of us had anything better to do anyway. So we was always together, riding, crew, looking to get into like battles. We would go to like other malls around Michigan and get sell CDs and try to meet other rappers and just hoping
that's
someone
why
would.
you got banned from Flint Mall, right?
How do you know this information? Bro, you're the best. Bro, you're the best. You're the best. Everybody fucking round of applause for Panda, bro. For real. Holy shit. Yeah, that's how I got banned from Flint. That's hilarious that you know that. But yeah, so we used to go to the malls and pump CDs, and it was fun, bro. It was I mean, it seems like nowadays it's way easier to get discovered as an artist with all this social media bullshit, but like there's nothing like selling someone a CD or giving them that 5 to 10 minute spiel, your little pitch, and then also possibly even rapping for them if they ask you to rap for them instead of just letting them here, listen to this. Like, uh, I feel like the relationships I made back then were they stayed. Like people that bought my CD and if they liked it, they were a fan for life. Like I'm sure if they're still alive, they're a fan still to this
Well, because
day.
you're like really out there, like touching the people. Like it's
Yes.
like a, in person kind of situation. It's different. It's more
Very
personable.
genuine. Like even though it's 5-10 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Like very. It's like you're meeting somebody. You remember that for the rest of your life. Like nowadays, you're scrolling through your phone. You could be like, "Oh, this way. I don't want to watch that. Oh, this way. Oh, okay. What's this dude? He's back. And he's spit. Okay. Follow. Like, on to the next. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like that's probably.
It's not a genuine connection anymore.
Right. Exactly. I mean, people can leave you comments, and God knows, I thank you so much to anybody that fucks with me on social media or discovers me that way and leaves me like these awesome comments, whether it's just fire emojis or whether it's like an actual heartfelt comment where someone's like, "Hey, like, man, I hear how you're doing this and this, and you're like, you're really good at this, bro, and yada yada. I hope you succeed." And it's just like, that all is very touching, and it keeps me going. But I compared to the back in the day selling CDs hand to hand and actually meeting someone that's a fan face to face and seeing their reaction to you, there's nothing that compares to that. And that's gone and it'll never come back. You know what I mean? That shit that's sad as fuck, bro. Shit is crazy.
Well, the problem also, bro, is like because of the internet, everybody thinks they can be an artist or a digital creator or somebody. It's too much, so right? It's too much competition.
Watered down bullshit.
It's diluted, and it's like it's easy for people to just like write people off now. It's like, oh, whatever. It's another person that's doing it. Just move on to the next. It's like there's no genuine investment, like from a personal, person to person kind of standpoint. It's like it's a lot more harder to come by.
Way harder to come by. Way harder to find someone that's actually like that rips through the barrier of just this like whatever hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Or hip, like okay, you got a catchy song, but you ain't really that good as an artist, man. And it's like, but those people still, that it's just crazy.
But like kind of like similar to what you were saying earlier, it's like, oh, okay, he's spitting some stuff, like, follow, but a lot of times that doesn't mean they're ever going to come back to check out your stuff. It's just like how a lot of times people will be like, oh, I don't even remember why I started following this person, or you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's
just 1,000%.
It's like inauthentic. It's not real.
Right. And that's why I put so many reels out. I put like on, it's like this last week, I haven't been really doing it, but it's usually like, I usually try to put 4 reels a week out. So I'm always constantly being discovered or discoverable, because God, like hope, like God willing, one of those goes viral and they do all the time. Like whether it's on TikTok, I went viral on TikTok, I went viral on Instagram, I went viral on my Facebook page and on YouTube. And the more that happens, the more you're being discovered and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just they can push follow, and it's not going to be the same thing. It's like they could be like, why did I follow this guy? So and it also says in my analytics, like the most people that engaged with this new video that you just put out, this new reel, is follow or not followers of you. They're like, you might have like 10% engagement followers, but 80 or 90% engagement was people that just stumbled across it while they were scrolling. And they hit follow,
Right.
and then you got followers, and but then you got but one thing that is really cool, I think, about all of this nowadays is that I will say that 50% of these people will they'll be interested enough in who you are to go get off of TikTok and go look you up on Spotify and then follow you there. And that's where they really listen to music. And they're like, so it's like they discover you on TikTok and they're like, okay, I'll give them a follow and a like. But they could end up fucking with you so much that it's like, oh, let me go to Apple Music or let me go to Spotify and look up Astray and oh damn, I like these songs. Let me put these in my daily playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right.
and then boom, your streams. You got one more person with you. You know, it's almost like they're putting songs in a playlist, like putting something in your pocket. Like you have all these people they're walking around with your songs and they're playing every day because they love their playlist that they curated, and that's what they play every day. So your song's getting played every day, and then you multiply those people by however many people I have listening to me on each individual platform, and then boom, it turns into money streams. So
there's definitely pros and cons
yeah,
to it.
yeah. I try to just look on the bright side and just be like, well, this is the future now. Like we're getting close to Star Wars, so it's like
it's a Star Wars.
It's just like, fuck it, this is what it is now, man. Like we gotta do this. It's a lot easier, I'll tell you that for sure. It's like I can sit here in the studio, knock out a song, upload it to DistroKid, and it's boom, it's there for the whole world to hear as soon as it uploads and it's ready to be released. And then I do a reel or a couple reels and people fuck with the song, and then boom, that's it. Like I don't have to travel all over the place anymore, which is very convenient. But I do miss the encounters, the damn dog, you cold, bro. Like I'm a man, will you sign this CD? Like shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I ain't never, that's never gonna happen unless I like put out a vinyl.
The new autograph is the picture
or some vinyl or some shit.
Yeah. So coming up earlier in your career, not now, but early, what kind of struggles did you face with being a white rapper in a black art form, if any?
None.
You didn't experience anything.
Thank God. I've never ever faced that problem once in my life. I was always accepted, I think, because of my talent, because of my exceptional talent. You know what I'm saying? Like people were like, yo, I fuck with dude. Like he's a real one because he's nice. You know what I'm saying? Like he's ill. And plus he's in Saginaw, race isn't really a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like Saginaw's a grimy little town, man. It's got a lot of murders. It's got a lot of, it's fucked up. But I never experienced a race issue. Everybody always just fucked with me. And I thank God for that. And you know what? If it had anything to do with like my friends, like remember I told you I was in a group, Mag 7? Right. We formed really early. Like we formed in 98 when I went to get signed by Ghetto Records, and half of them are black. So like if that had anything to do with me getting invited to the fucking barbecue, then thank them then I sincerely thank them for that too if they're listening. Like thank y'all, because you made it extremely easy for me to maneuver out here, and I never had any issues with, oh, that white boy over there, like, fuck that dude, like, he's white. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, never, ever.
Wow.
Ever, bro. I was always embraced everywhere I went, and whether I was by myself or with them. So I don't know where that came from. I think it could be a mixture of everything I just said, like skill level, like, oh, he's nice, and oh, he's accepted by those guys, and those guys are extremely like upper echelon as far as rap goes. So they're Stray's just accepted by default. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is.
So
but
hip hop has always been very welcoming to you.
bro, extremely. Hip hop has never, ever been bad to me. Ever once. Not once.
So now with, the social media and everything, like, you don't get any of those type of comments where people...
Oh yeah, I might. Yeah, for sure. Okay, now we're getting into a different territory. So, all right. For one, I invite hate, right? I invite it. Like, come on. Like, okay, it's kind of funny because it's like, bro, the way everything works now, please come and hate on me. Please come and watch my video and spend the 30 seconds watching it, forming your opinion, getting mad enough to be like, man, fuck this dude. He's whack. He's this. He's that. He looks... one of my favorites is he looks like Shane Gillis. You know, the comedian. No, it is funny because I kind of do look like him a little something, but
Right.
whatever. Anyway, the hate though, it pushes the fucking algorithm. Like, these guys don't know that they're so mad behind their little computers. You know what I'm saying? Like, or phones, and they just want to hate on something. So if I'm the target, then, like, as good as my little reel is doing, if it's going viral, it's, more people are seeing it, and as soon as that, like, 1 million views, and I get like, I'll say I get like 80% love on the internet, and then I get 20% like hardcore hate, like where people, they talking about me being white, they talking about me being whack, they talking about me being fat, they talking about me being whatever the fuck. Like, they'd be like, oh, I can do this better than you, and then you like go look at their profile and they don't have any music, and it's like how can you even back that up? But anyway, it's like, yeah, I invite the hate because it pushes the algorithm. So, and plus I just even without getting hated on my whole life with this music shit, for some reason, I thank God for this as well. I have really tough skin. So, I have really thick.
So you don't respond to the trolls?
Never. I heart it. I'm like, I let them know that I see it. I acknowledge what you just said, but I'm not gonna argue with you over the internet because I have way too many other comments to respond to that are good, that will keep pushing the algorithm, that engagement. Like, if I get like one negative comment out of 10, right? So I'll heart the negative comment, but then someone will fire emoji, or yo, bro, you're so dope, or yo, the next comment will be this or that, or something positive. It's like, if you respond to those people, first of all, you're responding to them. It's like, it's almost like it's the closest thing to selling someone a CD, right? And then second of all, it's pushing your engagement to where it's pushing the algorithm forward. Like, oh, he actually, like TikTok or Facebook, they're like, oh, he actually cares about what these people think. And he's not just releasing something out into the void and letting a bunch of people comment, and he's not commenting back. He's not engaging with them. He's not saying thank you. Like, because even Facebook will tell you. I've had them like not send me messages, but almost like a pop-up bubble will come up on my screen and be like, engage with your fans more to, you know, to do something, to like build, you know, make. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, I'll engage with my fans. I'll comment back. I'll like what they said. Might say thanks for the follow, whatever. And because of that, it it allows the algorithm to keep going further and further and further, as opposed to me just like posting a video and just letting it do whatever.
Don't you think it's kind of funny though that like people spend so much of their time like hating on like, because like for me, right, if I don't like something, I won't even waste my time to click on it or to like comment or anything. Like I just won't even put myself in that position. Like I got so much other time things to do, you know what I'm saying? But like there'll be like people that will come to your channel every single day just to comment and hate and like be like, I'm like, damn, bro, like you really just unhappy with your life or something like that. And you just want to direct it somewhere, right? Because like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that also like someone once described this to me, like online is like almost like road rage, but it's online because they don't see people as like real people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, because when you see some of these people respond, it's crazy. You're like, yeah, I'll fucking kill you in person or I'll do this to you and yada yada. And it's like, bro, like it's like, is it that serious? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy to think about, right?
Well, that's another. I mean, honestly, that is another reason, and I hope people listening don't take advantage of this. But that's another reason that like I don't respond or anything to the comments. I'll just be like, you watched it, it made you, you know, respond or it made you comment. That's cool with me, because it pushes the algorithm, like I said. But if I did respond and then they responded back, and like there is a part of me that can become extremely enraged. You know what I'm saying? And that'll take me out of my whole zone and put me in a dark place that I just do not want to be. And that's when
I got to learn better about doing that. I got to get better about doing that,
bro.
But some days it's like easier to ignore it, and then other days like you may be like feeling a certain way already, and then somebody you get that comment, it's a little harder to just be like ignore. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And for me, it's way easier with the comments because I can be like, oh, I don't know this fucking person. They don't know me. They just heard me rap a couple words. But what the thing you said earlier, road rage, bro, that shit could get me in fucking trouble. I am horrible with road rage, and I like completely admit that. Like I've gotten so much rage, and I'm not even like a super fucking what person. You know what I'm saying? Like let's get them up. Like it's like I'll fight to survive, and I'll fight for my family and shit like that. I've got a good head on my shoulders. But when I'm behind the wheel and someone does something fucking stupid or cuts me off or does some shit like that, I will literally go out of my character and become a different person. And I'll roll my window down and I'll drive up as fast as they're driving. I'll drive up to them and be like, pull over. Luckily, I've never got into a fight over road rage, but I have done this way more times than I can count. And some people have actually pulled over like, well, okay, what you want? You want something? And I'm like, yeah, let's come on, blah, blah, blah. And somehow it de-escalates and it's good. And it's like, we realize this is just fucking stupid, this road rage. But bro,
then you sell them your CD.
But I have been in that situation way more times than I would like.
Yo, have you seen that movie Unhinged?
With no, I haven't, but I have a feeling it would make me mad. I have a feeling it would make me extreme. Like the whole time I'm watching it, I'm just like, like fuck this movie. That's where the Chinese lady and or they're both Chinese, ain't they?
No. That's a different movie. This is a movie that's just about like road rage, where this guy really like loses it though, and like he keeps on coming after this lady, like tracking her down and everything.
Oh no, so I haven't heard of that. No,
Yeah, no,
I've
you
heard
should
of the
check it
movie
out.
that they each of them in. Oh yeah, because it's what's her name? The I don't know what she is. She's Asian, but she that movie where they're both
I know what
always.
you're talking about.
I
I know what
haven't
you're talking
seen
about.
it,
Yeah.
but like I have a feeling if I watched that, it would kind of that would like make me be like, oh, this fucking
Yo, man,
movie.
why you reveal your age right now? Because the way that you just started rolling down the window, like actually rolling it down instead of like pushing the button, showed how old you are.
Oh my god, bro!
Or you got like an old hoopty, like you rolling down the window for real.
Dog, that is the funniest fucking shit I've heard. Oh my god, yo! So if there's like a 19-year-old watching this, he's like, "What the fuck does this mean?" When you're rolling down a window, he's like, "I know what this means, but I don't know what this means." It's like, hey, y'all gotta read your history books and fucking figure out what that is, because that's some real shit we had to. Those are some struggles we had to go through back in the day. So to all you little youngsters out there, go learn what this is when you're rolling down a window. That's crazy, bro. That's so funny that you thought of it in that perspective.
Do you know who Necro is, the rapper?
Oh, fuck yeah. Necro's a beast, bro.
Yeah, he's dope, man. I just interviewed him recently, but he said that he has this perspective on hip hop, right? That
Okay.
mainstream wise, for some reason, the business only allows like one one white rapper to really be highlighted, one Latino rapper to be highlighted. It's like almost like there's not enough room to highlight more rappers from other races to be in that top spot. What do you think?
I don't agree with that. There's plenty of other white rappers that I mean, yeah, there's the main white rapper.
Right.
There's Eminem, but there's fucking Jack Harlow, Macklemore. There's even on like a more underground level, there's Marlon Craft. There's and Yellow Wolf. God, fucking Jelly Roll used to be a white rapper. You know, he's in the country shit now. There's so many white rappers, bro, that do their thing and get their props. No, not on an Eminem level, but I don't agree with that at all.
I think that maybe also his perspective of it is different because of his journey of him coming up in the 90s till now, right? So like it was I think that hip hop's a little bit more accepting, it seems like now, of other races to make it to a higher level. But for a long time it kind of seemed like Eminem is like the only one. Well, I guess you had like Bubba Sparks and like some other ones,
Yeah,
but not
Bubba.
right, but not to like real like recognition kind of level, right?
What do you mean, like real like?
Like
I mean,
respected,
Bubba to
maybe
me back
respected
then
wise.
he got the closest to.
I thought Bubba Sparks was dope for, except for when he went to like the Miss New Booty kind of direction,
Yeah,
but
not
like
a,
the stuff,
I didn't fuck
but
with
the
that
stuff
either.
before then, he had his own style and everything. But like I felt people didn't seem to give him like the respect that he deserved almost.
I just don't. I honestly don't feel like he was. No, no disrespect to Bubba Sparks, because Bubba, like I would kill to have the career that he had, but and to take off like he did. I think it came down to a talent level and a level of all right, so Nate, this is kind of a hard thing to think about or to say. Um, all right, so Eminem, right? Like he had this side of him that was like just mad ill, and he's known as the crazy white boy with crazy fucking lyrics. I mean, crazy skill. Like he's known for that, but he's also the guy that puts out the dumbass songs. I mean, I'm not saying the dumbass songs. Everybody loved the songs when they came out, but like the real Slim Shady, please stand up. And then this looks like a job for me, and all the
Right.
pop songs, the songs that broke through and were like number one on the charts.
And he knew what he was doing.
He knew, plus his team knew what he didn't know exact. I mean, I'm sure like it was a mixture of him.
But he's admitted himself. He was like, "Oh, I think I got the formula," because this one, after a few listens, he felt like it was a little corny to himself too, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's admitted that.
He's got to listen back to those and be like, "Damn, this is crazy corny." But we all loved him, like because it was top. Like, not only am I getting this ill ass Eminem on every other song on the album, but this song on here that I'm listening to on the radio, that's on the radio, that this looks like, or two trailer park girls go around the outside. Like that shit got played so much on the radio that you ended up liking it, even if you didn't like it. If you at first you was like, this is a little too wacky for me. It's a little too zany. Then a week later you'd be like, nah, this is my shit. I like this. But no other artist in hip hop had that pop appeal with those songs like Eminem did. Not Jack Harlow, not fucking Macklemore, I guess you could say kind of came close a little bit, like as far as he pushed the envelope with like Thrift Store and shit like that. Like that was a huge song. But like Bubba Sparks, if you think of his shit, his was pretty much, it wasn't poppy enough. It was still very urban, like his songs like I ain't choose to rhyme it chose me. So I hit the track running like a nosebleed. What's that song? But yeah, like songs like that. Or
that's when he's like in the mud and everything, right? With
that was his first big single with Timbaland. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And and even Miss New Booty, like that was a huge song, but it was more hip hop R&B. It wasn't pop. It didn't cross over to pop. So I think the only person that's still done that is not still done that, but to have completely done that and had success with it is Eminem. I mean, Jack Harlow, I think the closest one I could relate that to is Jack Harlow's that I don't know it's in change and you can hold me down. I could put jumping off the baby. That shit.
Right.
That was, but still, he sampled an old R&B song, actually from my homeboy Cadillac Dale. Shout out to Dale because that was a beautiful fucking thing that happened. Jack Harlow, there's a singer out of Detroit. His name's Cadillac Dale. And he wrote that song and sang it, and Jack Harlow found it. And however it was made, Jack Harlow turned it into what it is now. And a lot of light got shined back on my homeboy Dale, Cadillac Dale. Yeah, so that was really fucking cool, man. But still, even that was a more pop R&B. It wasn't straight up pop. So
when you look at even like the Latino side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you had Big Pun, and did you ever really have like another Latino MC to come and like compete with that spot for him? Really? You know what I'm saying? Like he was like the main one that was just highlighted. Everybody else
was, bro. He was, because I mean, you had who else did you have that was? I mean, you had everybody that was part of Terror Squad that was Latino. They were all dope. Everybody was nice on Terror Squad. Not Pun nice, but at least they held their own. But yeah, like the other biggest Latino rapper I could think of is Pitbull. You know what I'm saying?
But he's more like pop though, isn't he? Because like
Absolutely.
right.
He's more island. He's more reggaeton, dance hall,
Right.
which is dope. I love that type of music. But yeah, nobody's ever fucking with Pun. I mean, not that I know of anyway. But I will say, man, like as I get older, bro, I get really just focused on what the fuck I'm doing. Like, if you ask me, I probably don't know 10% of what's going on in the industry. I just do what I do and go from there. Like, I don't listen to other rap. I don't listen. Well, first of all, most of other rap is not anything near what I'm doing. It doesn't relate to it at all. So it's like I only listen to people that I've always been inspired by. You know what I mean? Or people that like I come across that are cut from the same cloth of what I've been inspired by, like fucking RJ Payne or Benny the Butcher or Rome Streets or people like that. Like I'm especially like as long as my career is banned, I finally figured out one fucking thing, man. I'm really good at rapping. Not, I mean, I'm good at making beats. I'm good at singing, songwriting. Definitely better at songwriting than singing, but together, I'm pretty good. But nowhere near as good as I am at rapping. So I've made a conscious decision in the last couple of years to be like, I'm going back to what people were really, what really turned people on about me to begin with. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Like it's my rapping. And now I'm older. It's like, bro, I don't have all the time in the world to be a rapper anymore. So I might as well do it. And like instead of always trying to like, oh man, I gotta try to like walk that line. It's the same thing that we were just talking about with all these white rappers, you know what I mean? Or any rapper in general, white, black, Latino, whatever. Like instead of trying to be ill and come up with a hit at the same time and find the formula, just do what you're good at and let it come out however it comes out. And that's art. You know what I mean? Like don't try to be so strategical with your creativity because it's going to put you in a box. Now, with the Shady shit, yeah, when I started singing, that's what put them onto me. And, that happened and thank God that happened. So I wasn't, like they weren't concerned with my raps at all whatsoever. Like the dude that actually like kind of facilitated that deal and introduced me to Paul and Eminem and not introduced me, but like introduced my music. He actually encouraged me not to rap. He was like, don't rap, bro. You're going to get on way more if you sing, if you put out like fucking go put some, you look like a hoodlum. Go put some fucking H&M clothes on or Express. Go shop at Express. And and although I didn't agree with shit he was saying, I tried it. I tried to make them happy. I tried to make him happy. Didn't work out, but I was like, okay, all right, man. At least I'll be doing some sort of music, and I love music. So,
right.
Like whether I'm producing, whether I'm singing, writing and singing, or whether I'm rapping, it's like I like doing all three equally, pretty much. So it's like, okay, I'll try to venture off this way, the way you want me to go right now, and that proves to not do anything. Like,
is that why you did that song like Bedroom Bully?
Absolutely. That whole Good Luck album, bro. Like 75% of that is me singing, like singing songs as if I was a fucking pop R&B artist. And there's a few gems on there, but to me, I didn't know how to be a pop R&B artist. I wasn't built like that. My whole life has been rapping. So I'm like,
I was really surprised, bro, because like I got introduced to you through the reels and seeing like, man, like this dude can really spit, right? And then all of a sudden I started
oh,
like
thank you, bro.
going back in the archives and I'm like, yo, what? This is him? I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I was like, wow, you know what I mean? I mean, I was a little distracted because the girl you had in the video too. I was like, wow, you know, but I mean, like,
Oh yeah. There was some baddies in that video. Shout out to Cassie and Jillian. Those were the two girls in that video.
I was just surprised, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, bro. It was crazy. It was, bro, that the whole Shady shit was just crazy because, like I said, I wanted to be a rapper. Dude that kind of like was assigned to me was like kind of my manager, because he's the one that discovered me and brought me to Paul and Eminem, who signed me. But they were like, okay, well, you discovered him, so you know,
he was like the A&R,
yes,
basically.
You're the
Right,
A&R,
yeah.
and you know, I don't want to say he didn't know music that well, or it just seemed like he didn't really know music that well, but I just kind of, that's the vibe I got off of him after a while.
He had like an outdated formula, basically, of like what, like kind of
not a outdated. I just think he came up doing other shit for them, and
got you.
And then I think he was put in a position to where like, okay, well let's test your A&R ear, and then he found me, which is like flattering in a way. It's like, okay, you thought I was nice with the singing shit, and you did tell me I was a dope rapper, but you know, you guys already had the best rapper in the world, and I agreed with you. I'm like, yeah, you do, but I remember the day I met him, and he already had came up with like this vision for how he wanted to work with me. He was like, I don't want you to rap. I'm not interested in that. And I'm like, fuck. Like, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, bro. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do then? He's like, man, I think you can get on doing hooks and sing and writing full songs for these big pop artists. And I'm like, okay, absolutely, I'll do that. I'm down. Let's work. And then we worked for like 2 years, and I would send him hooks and shit, and he would be like, oh, I'm gonna send them around and see who bites, and nobody ever bit. And but then Paul heard my music from him, and he liked it, and he was like, who is this? This guy's dope. So the dude, he called me and he's like, yo, you need to get to New York like in the next 2 days, because Paul wants to have a meeting with you. And he's like, don't get excited, but he wants to sign you. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you
Wait, so before then you were just working with like no contract or anything like that? Like you were just
Wait, what do you mean?
Before the signing, before meeting with Paul, like how were you working? Was it under a contract or?
Oh yeah, it was under like a verbal agreement that like okay, if anything happens, you're gonna be my manager at 20%.
Got you. Okay.
So like if you get me something, then it's on. You know what I mean? So he got me the deal, and thank him for that. Like, he'll remain nameless because I don't want to talk shit about my guy. Like, he's still kind of like, I care about him. That's my dog from back in the day. Like, even though we just kind of fell out, but he what was I saying? Yeah, he discovered me, and he
right. So then he
was
you're
my
having
manager.
the deal. I mean, you're going to New York and you're going to talk to Paul. So what happened?
Paul, yep. And then Paul was like, hey man, how would you feel about being a singer-songwriter for us? And I was like, that would be amazing. Like, I'm anything. What do you want me to do? I'm like, I'm fucking, let's do it. Let's further my career. And I don't care if it's me rapping, if it's me singing, if it's me anything. And he was like, okay, so you're going to write songs for, or hooks or whatever, or make beats for pop artists, like we're really not looking for you to work with anybody that's on our label or on our roster. We're trying to, because all right, so Shady is a boutique label and they only had like a couple artists, right? One being one of the biggest in the world, Eminem, and then the others being like these other rappers and stuff that were doing okay. So they're a boutique label. So to sign me, they went half and half with Universal Music Publishing. Universal Music is this whole wide
parent
ass,
company.
yes, entertainment company with writers, movie directors, fucking movie writing, sing like songs, anything involving music and movies. You know what I mean? So they had the clientele of people that I would need to work with or work for or like write a song for, or they always had, even if it was a different label, like let's say
Def Jam.
Def Jam, they would be like, well, we know that this guy from Def Jam is looking for singles right now. So Astray, why don't you write for him? Like right now, like you don't have to, but it might be smart if you wrote some songs for Wiz Khalifa or some shit like that. And so, and then sometimes they would send me around the United States, like, well, not New York and LA, to studios to work with different producers that were trying to do the same thing as me. So they would like book my ticket, and I remember like through my deal, they left like a chunk of money for my travel expenses and all that kind of stuff. And I got to work with some really cool people, but I never landed any kind of placement. And I don't know, man. I don't know if it was just because I wasn't good enough, or because the guy that was in charge of my career, that like Paul assigned him to me. I don't know if it was because he was kind of fronting on all the people he said he knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell. I'll never know. But I look at it like,
are you technically still signed at this point to them?
Not no more. No, I.
When did that deal end?
I don't know exactly when it ended, but it ended at least 2 years ago. Like,
got you.
So I thought that I was signed for life, no matter what, until I fulfilled my obligations that were in the contract to them, and which was a lot of fucking obligations. And I thought that I was signed for life, but I didn't know. And the fucking asshole attorney that they hired to look over my contract and facilitate the deal and make it so he represented me. But people say that that's crazy too, because it's like a conflict of interest. Like, it was someone they knew that they hired to.
That's wild.
Yeah, right. And so I don't know. I never looked into that, but I ain't trying to stir no shit up. I'm just like, whatever, man.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I was with them for so fucking long. And even and the way me and oh boy kind of fell out and I fired him is because the whole time, like I said, he didn't want me to rap, bro. He did not. He was like, fuck rap, to the point where I was still rapping. I was like, dog, you can't get me to stop rapping. This is what I do. This is who I am. A publishing deal isn't going to decide who the fuck I am. You didn't sign me as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't make a plan for me to be a fucking R&B pop singer right out the gate. Like, you were like, oh, I just don't like rap. I'm not into rap. I'm not into working with rappers. I'm like, that's your fault. Like, you signed me. There was nothing in the contract stating you can't rap. I don't want you to rap. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like nobody had a problem with it except for this dude. And it was just, I wasted so much fucking time on listening to him and trying to, it got to a point where, you know, like you're working in a place where you don't really know how to work. You're just doing what you're told. Like, hey, grab that mop and that bucket and fucking start mopping. Or else you're like, well, what do? I don't know what to do around here. Like there's, you know, a million fucking buttons and shit like that. So he was basically like, yeah, I don't want you to rap. I want you to write songs. So that's what I did. I was like I said, well, I did break the fucking rules a little bit. And I, you know, I did a song with King Crooked, which was like on my bucket list. I did a couple other songs, but nothing, I didn't put nothing out too heavy that was rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, very little in those couple years. And, but I did put, he was like, he did say, yo, these placements aren't working out and we're not getting anything placed. So I think what you should do is come out as an artist doing this shit as a, you know, a singer songwriter. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. like I do not, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's like, go, and he even said he'd help me. And the motherfucker didn't help me at all. And
it seems like you were saying earlier that you've always been good at following your intuition.
yeah,
You didn't follow your intuition this time.
I didn't follow it. I blindly followed this guy, and it was completely the wrong thing to do. It was wrong. I mean, I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to do. If I would have landed some placements, you know what I'm saying? I could have been in a very good space, and I could have been, you know, if this was the right person, someone who wasn't like egotistical and mad at me rapping or had some grudge against rappers or some shit, whatever reason he didn't want me to rap. I could have did both. I could have been like a rapper, and behind the scenes, I'm a singer songwriter, and who has a problem with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's wrong with that? So it's crazy, like how bad he fought for me to not be a rapper, and then so he told me to put a project together that was pop, not pop, but like pop R&B or just pop, flat out pop. And so I did, and it's all singing songs, and it's like, I don't know how to be a pop artist. I don't know how to write songs for myself. I know how to step in your shoes and write something that's catchy for you, but I don't know what I want to do with myself as a writer, as a singer, songwriter, pop artist. So I feel like a lot of those songs that I came out with were cheesy. Just, I don't know, they were just like generic ass pop songs or R&B pop. But I put it out, and people don't really ever show it love or show attention to it. They're just like, on a couple songs, they're like, oh, this one's dope. There's a song called Good Luck. I think it's the first song on the album. And that's what I named the album after. And it's like really bluesy. And it's got this whole like raw, kind of like dark, aggressive, moody feeling to it. And I love that song. Or there's a song called Too Good to Be True. I love that song too. But those were me being real as a singer songwriter. Like, I was writing about real shit in my life. The other shit was just like some, no disrespect toward Trey Songz. Like, I always, you know, Chris Brown, those guys are fucking phenomenal artists, but I was trying to do shit that was like, I don't know what else to do for myself as a pop artist, so I'm gonna try to do what they would do. and make some shit that's
You were
more
trying to
like,
force something.
yeah, like some bedroom R&B, pop R&B. Like, so I got a song called All Night, and you know, you can obviously you already knew just hearing the title. You're like, All Night. Yeah, that's yep. So
No, because
I
I'm
had
trying to imagine. Look at the boom bap rapping guy that I got introduced to, and then I'm trying to imagine you in some Express shirt and shit going all night. You know what I mean?
damn.
So it's kind of funny, man.
Yeah, bro. That's I'm trying to think of other. If y'all get a chance, go look me up on Apple Music or Spotify and go listen to the album Good Luck and hear the time in my life that I tried to be a fucking pop R&B singer. And I mean, no, don't get me wrong, I still sing a lot of my hooks, but these were writing full songs and me singing, trying to be a singer. So
It's
if
okay.
y'all want
You
to
had a
hear that,
momentary identity crisis. It's all right.
you right, yeah, bro. No, it was so stressful, bro. Like, okay, so a white boy, think of it this way: a white boy from Detroit. Uh, oh, the way it looks to the world, right? A white boy from Detroit gets handpicked by Eminem from Detroit, and is like, this is the new guy that's affiliated with Shady. It could have been all so fucking beautiful, bro. But I had to deal with this guy that just didn't have the right. Well,
Did you ever ask though, like why you weren't signed to Shady Records directly, like to be an artist instead of just like the
I was
songwriter?
never presented to them as an artist. So the dude that discovered me and discovered my CD. So how it happened was this guy, he knew he's from Manhattan. He flew in. He always, ran errands for, Shady. So he would do shit for him. He would always be around in Detroit. He knew
I
mutual
think I know
people.
who you're talking about too.
Okay. So, yep. So he knew mutual people. One of my really good friends, especially back then, Emily Smalls. They knew each other. So he was like, "Yo, Emily, could you chauffeur me around all day? Because instead of me renting a car, like I don't even know if the motherfucker knows how to drive because he lives in New York." So he was like, "Emily, could you chauffeur me around?" And she was like, "Yeah, for sure." So they both tell me this story. They were like, um, I told Emily to get all the local CDs because CDs were still popping at the time. This was like 2013, and he was like, get all your CDs from all the local artists that that you have, because I know that you fuck with all these artists out here. She like, everybody knew her. She was cool as hell. You know what I'm saying? So her brother, actually, Adam Smalls, he went on to become like this. I don't know exactly what he does, but I was just made aware of this the other day. He's like doing really big things in the industry now, and I'm really happy for him. Like, shout out to Adam Smalls, man. He's a really cool guy. And anyway, when I met him, he was trying to do things to get his foot in the door, and now he's got his foot in the door. So it's like, fuck yeah, hell yeah, Adam. But anyway, so he was like, Emily, bring all your CDs. And so she got like 50 CDs. And he said the whole time that they were in the car running errands that day, they listened to all 50 of those albums. And out of all 50, he chose two albums that he liked. And one was mine, and one was a guy named Travis Chandler. So he had Emily hit me up, and they had me on speakerphone, and he was like, "Yo, my guy, I like your music," and yada yada. And I'm like, for real? Is this fucking happening for real? Like, this dude from Shady? And he's like, can you meet me tomorrow down at Sweetwater Tavern by um uh why am I drawing a blank? St. Andrews? And I'm like, of course. So I met him there, and Chavis was there as well. And he had a meeting with both of us. He was interested in Chavis as a rapper. He wasn't interested in me as a rapper. And he gave me my props. He was like, look, I see that you can rap really well, but I don't think that's how you're going to get on. I think what he was trying to tell me, bro, is like, even though this had never happened yet, he was like, I think if you do the Jelly Roll thing, that's how you're going to get on. Like, whether you're writing for people and you come up behind the scenes and then you have enough money to put yourself out as an artist, or we try to put you out ourselves, like me and you work together as a team. And yeah, so like I said, it broke my heart. I walked away feeling excited as fuck because I was like, well, I got some sort of an opportunity, but it's not the one I was exactly looking for. But so I was like 50-50. I was like happy and sad. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of what I was gonna say though is, yeah, that shit led to a lot of fucking, like, by the time our relationship was like winding down, and I fired him and I just didn't want to work with him no more. That shit had made me mentally sick, bro. Like, it was too much for me. And there were a few other things contributing to why I became sick, but it made me sick to the point where like I took a lot of time off. I was like, fuck this, fuck everything. I just want to get better. And it was too much stress.
Got you. Let's backtrack a little bit though, right? Like, what year do you start interning at Eminem Studio?
Oh man, that was crazy. 2008 was when I started interning. Shout out to King Gordy. King Gordy made that happen.
Okay, so this is like what, around Relapse or Recovery?
I honestly can't even remember, man, and no disrespect to M, but I wasn't a big fan of Eminem back then. No, it wasn't. Relapse came after this because that's when I started becoming a fan again. But like Encore and Curtain Call and these albums, I was not a fan of. I stopped being a true fan after Eminem Show. Eminem Show was phenomenal, but phenomenal, bro. Like those
probably
first
my favorite
three albums,
Eminem album.
Yeah, mine too. Those first three albums were completely like changed the game, undeniable. But then I don't know. I felt like it was just different on Encore.
Well, he did have his addiction that he was dealing with and everything. So
well, he had that, and he also had. He was like, I think he was surrounded by different people, like 50 Cent, and he was trying. I felt like it was very noticeable how much he was trying to like. If you're around those guys, right? Like, I don't know. I don't want to put it in a disrespectful way, but if you're around those guys, you want to be one of those guys, right? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he was around 50 Cent. He kind of got a little thug in him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, oh yeah, I'm not crazy lyrical Eminem anymore. I'm more like, you ain't gonna fuck with me. Like, I'm 50 Cent right there. It's Lloyd Banks right there. Like, I'm more of a thug. I'm beefing with Benzino and Ja Rule. I'm this and that. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion, but I could be completely wrong. And like I said, I mean no disrespect, but that's just the vibe I got off the whole thing.
Yes. So you're talking about that time, and he was doing a lot of mixtapes, and then Encore happened. 2004. And he kind of
I
took like,
can't name you one song off Encore, but I remember all the mixtapes.
right.
And then the Shady 2.0 joint. I remember
Oh,
that because
you're talking about not Shady 2.0 was later on with Slaughterhouse and Yellow Wolf, but you're talking about like the Re-Up album,
was it
where Cassius and like Stat Cole and like how they were doing that whole thing.
It was a drawing of everyone on the cover.
Right. That was the Re-Up album. That was 2006 or something like that.
My bad. I'm getting mixed up then. Yes. So, but the reason I remember that is because I was so blown away because he drew that whole cover, bro. And it was like,
wow.
It was like looking at it. And when I found that out, I swear to God, I probably like just studied that cover for like an hour. Because like I said, I like to draw and shit like that. And I'm just like, damn, man, there's so much detail in this. Like, he killed this shit. I didn't even know he liked art and knew how to draw and shit like that.
So then you're saying around 2008 you start interning for his studio, right? How did that came about from King Gordy?
Yeah.
Right. And so what was that like
interning from out of his studio?
Yeah.
It was crazy, bro. It was from the day that I first met him. I never ever thought that I was gonna meet him, especially in like I was going down to his studio, me and my manager, to meet with Joel Martin, the owner of the studio, and King Gordy. And I knew that that's where Eminem record, but never in my life did I think, oh yeah, he's gonna be here this day, the same day that I'm coming there. And I was completely wrong. He was there, and he walked in I met him in the wildest way, man. Like, he walked in, we were sitting in the lounge room, where there's this little stereo, and I was playing, some beat with Gordy's vocals on it that I made that replaced the other beat that he was on. And they gave me his vocals, and they wanted me to remake the beat and make it a little bit more popish, because it was can't remember how the song went, but it says some shit. It was like, do you mind if we smoke one? Do you mind if we smoke one? So it was Gordy trying to get in his, like, damn, let's get something on the radio back. You know what I mean? So they had me redo that beat, and it was no emailing. I mean, there was email, obviously, but like Gordy hit me up. He was like, yo, Joel wants to have a fucking meeting with you, bro. He wants to pay too. He said this over the phone. And I'm like, word? Yeah. So I called down there, and I was like, hey, just heard from Gordy that you guys wanna he was like, yeah, they want to meet you. And not Eminem, but just Joel, the guy that owned the studio. So he invited me down. He paid me for all the work that I did so far because I did half of King Gordy's King of Horrorcore mixtape, and I did almost the full mixtape for King Gordy, Van Dyke, and Harper music. And I did all those beats. So they paid me, and then they gave me a position. But anyway, they were like, we were sitting listening to this beat that I did, and someone comes walking through the back, and I hear it, and I don't think nothing of it. Like, I'm just like, oh, there's a door back there. I didn't realize that. So someone's walking, and he comes up and he stops right here, right next to me. I'm on the edge of this couch in this lounge, and because it's a small hallway, and Eminem has like mad CDs like this in his arms, and he's trying to carry them, and he dropped. So he stopped, and all of them just went boom, 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 fell to the floor. So at this point, he knelt down to like, they were like scattered almost all the way across the room. And I mean, it was a small room, but so he's like on his hands and knees, reaching for CDs, like collecting all the CDs that he had just dropped. Finally gets them all. And but this is happening like on the side of me, right to the side, like right fucking, like right here. He's on his hands and knees. I'm looking at the top of Eminem's head, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now, bro? Like, that's Eminem. He just dropped a bunch of CDs. Like, I'm trying to make sense of what's going on. Trying to make sense of the fact that that's that motherfucker right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, then he picks the CDs up and he puts them on the whatever counter, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Marshall." And I'm still sitting down. He's standing up at this point, and I'm just like, "Hey," I can't remember what I said, but that was definitely my, I was just kind of speechless. Like, hey, like my heart had fell in my foot or some shit. Like it was, I was just like, dog, like you're one of my fucking heroes. Like I'm thinking this in my head, and I'm like telling myself, like, don't be a fucking a fanboy or no shit like that. Don't just relax, chill.
Don't play yourself right now. I
That's
got you.
Eminem. Just, have a party in your brain, but don't fucking don't show that. Just say what's up. And I'm just like, what up, man? And then and he was really cool because after that conversation with Gordy, Joel, and my manager, and at the time, and me, he invited us to go sit in on his studio session, and which was in Studio A of 54 Sound. And bro, when I say this dude is sarcastically one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, that's so real, bro. He's so fucking funny. He's got a joke about everything. It's almost like maybe like a nervous
habit,
twitch, or like
tick.
a tick or something. Like he's gotta belittle everything, but in a funny way, or he's gotta like figure out a funny thing to say about something sarcastically. But if you think of how he raps, that's exactly who he is. So it's like at first, like we were bro, like the whole session, he just kept cracking jokes, and we were just laughing. Everybody was laughing, even the engineer, Tony Campana. And on the way home, I'm like reevaluating everything that happened in my head, and I'm like, that's crazy how fucking funny this dude was. And I'm like, but that's him. That's him on every record you listen to. That's not a serious record, and it's like that's just him. That's him. Dude. It's crazy. It was
what songs did he play? What songs did he play during the session?
He was working on the T.I. joint. No, he didn't play anything that session. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a different time that I was in the studio with them. I got to hear that Touchdown shit. You remember that?
Yeah, it was terrible. But he says that though. He admits that song was terrible too, though.
It was, but still, like even though it wasn't one of his best songs that I got to sit in on, that was one of them that I got to sit in on that actually seen the light of day. Because a lot of shit that he did, was just scratch shit. Like right. He would just work, and he would be there a lot.
So you got to be around him during the time that he was, his description was he was relearning how to rap because he had
this was before any of that drug shit happened. Or he might have been going through it.
No, because you said 2008. 2008 was he releases Relapse in 2009.
Yeah. So I remember
And that's when he's sober. That's when he's sober and relapse.
in 2009. Okay, so
Yeah.
I remember what happened. So this, I don't know. I'm not sure as far as like he could have been high as fuck at every session that or every time I ever seen him in the studio, or every session I ever was able to sit in on, or anything like that. He probably was. I don't know. I couldn't tell. He like I said, he was pretty much the same way every time. Like he was very
But I think
sarcastic.
that you might be right though, because he overdosed in 2007, but that touchdown song was done during the time that he was still using, I believe.
Yeah. He overdosed in 2007
Yeah.
because he must have still been using that. Like, because I met him and I couldn't tell if he was fucked up or not. Usually, you can tell.
I think that you actually were there in 2007, because I heard you in another interview say 2007, because the touchdown song comes out on T.I.'s album T.I. versus T.I.P. in November of 2007. So you heard it before.
Maybe
then.
it was 2007.
Yeah, you heard it before it came out.
All I remember is, so back home, what had happened is me and my girlfriend of like 4 years, we broke up, and it was in the summer. And then we got back together. But while we were broke up, I was like, so they told me when I first met, that first day that I was there, they were like, anytime you want to come and use this studio, because they had multiple studios in that building. Studio A was just the biggest one where like Eminem worked out of. But they were like, if you want to come down here and work every day on music, you're allowed to. Like, you got the pass. And I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking amazing. So I didn't though, because I was still like hung up over this girl back home. And I'm trying to remember the timeline. So me and her got back together. And it was something where I was like, okay, we're back together. So we're going to have this Saginaw, Detroit relationship where you're going to come down during the weekend. And that's what she did. And I didn't really know my way around Detroit too well back then. So I lived all the way out in fucking Waterford. I don't know why I lived in. Every day was like a fucking 35-minute drive to 9 Mile in Ferndale. And it was just like, why did I move there? But anyway, yeah, so that's what made me be like, okay, I'm gonna move down there. Like, I got her back. We're cool now. She's gonna come down every weekend. So now I feel comfortable moving to Detroit. Like, everything's back in place. And I'm gonna take them up on that offer because it's not too late. And so they let me work there. They even gave me jobs to have some extra money. Like, so like most of the day that I was there, I was able to work on music, but like for like 3 or 4 hours, I had to do like janitorial shit, like, or be like a runner for them, like go get them coffee, go get them lunch if they make an order or something. Which was cool. Like, that was like easy shit, especially with Joel was paying me very, very, very good for doing that shit every week. So I was like, this is definitely working out. And yeah, it was dope, man. And then I had to leave though. My dad was getting sick.
Right. Wait, before we get into that though, right? So when you're in that situation, are you seeing him all the time working there?
Yeah, I was seeing, not all the time, but I mean, way more times than I can count. You know what I mean? Like, and I also witnessed some wild shit. Like,
exclusive.
It is exclusive. You know what? I don't think I've ever said this on on a podcast or anything like that, or in an interview.
Yo, Mountain Dew need to cut us a check.
Mountain Dew, yep, 0, baby. Keep that sugar out of me. What's it called? What was I gonna say? What was the question? My bad.
Oh, you were gonna give an exclusive about
an
some
exclusive.
wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when Paul, years later, when Paul was like offering me the deal, like after we had gotten through the business part of that conversation, he was like, so, tell me some shit about yourself. I was like, well, I used to work, out of 54, or I used to intern out of 54. And I met M like a million times there. And, we didn't become friends or anything, but we said what up to each other. We spoke. It was like I seen him a lot. He's like, really? I was like, he was the only person I felt comfortable telling this to because it's kind of personal. But now it's just like so fucking long ago that whatever. But I was like, yeah, like there was this incident and Paul was like, you were there for that? And I'm like, yeah, bro, this shit was crazy. So this motherfucker, bro, so as the story goes, he had I guess there was a safe in, okay, so whatever Eminem says and back then goes. Like if he doesn't want anyone around and he's on some shit where he's like, leave me alone, I just want to, then everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, you have to go into a different room and stay there until it's safe to come out. And because he's a fucking superstar. So it was like, I understood. I was like, it's kind of whack, but whatever. I get it. He's fucking Michael Jackson status. And you know what I mean? Like, he just, if he wants to be alone and he wants to, everyone to get out or stay where they are for however long, he has the right to do it. And so one time, and Tony Campana got locked in Studio A, not locked in, but we were like told by Joel, like, stay in here because Eminem is like extremely upset. And how it's funny, it's ironic too. It's like, how studio walls and stuff are built with nothing but like insulation and like what's behind
Foam.
me, like
Yeah,
foam and
acoustic
shit.
foam.
Like, so Eminem came in just yelling like a motherfucker. And this was kind of around like the time that he had, I don't know, he had the 50 Cent influence and shit like that. So like, it was almost like you could hear a little bit of that coming out of him. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't just yelling, he was yelling like on some, like I'm a straight up G type shit. Like you ain't gonna fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't just yelling as a human being. It was like he had a little 50 Cent influence in him. He had a little like I'm a thug. The way that he was coming across, as far as what I heard, my ears anyway. And I'm just like, me and Tony were looking at each other like, wow, this is crazy. So what happened was, the reason why he was so mad is he got word that someone at the office was had took the lyrics to Stan, the song Stan, out of the safe and were trying to sell them on eBay. I don't know if any of this is true, but I know what happened that day is true. You know what I'm saying? Like, this motherfucker came in with power tools, bro. Power tools to break into a safe. That's how like crazy he was at the moment. He was like, fuck that, I'm getting in this motherfucker. Blah, da, 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 da. Yada, yada. And then him and Joel Martin were going back and forth, yelling at each other. And Joel is this short as me, little Jewish dude who does not have a filter whatsoever. Like, he will fucking say, bro, he went off on me before. And I'm just like, damn, Joel, like, you just, you know what I'm saying? You went the fuck off. I don't want to fuck with you, bro. I'm scared of you now, man. Like, anyway, Joel was just giving it right back to him. Like, motherfucker, da da da. Like, think of like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. Right. Like, yo, motherfucker, like with a kind of a voice like this, you know, like and then Eminem's, I can't really do Eminem well, but like, he was just yelling back, and they were yelling back and forth, and they're just getting louder and louder and louder, and it was all because he brought power tools and like the crowbar and whatever else the fuck he had to try to get in the safe. Like fuck everybody, I'm gonna bust this shit open and get my lyrics to stand. And we sat there listening through the walls that were supposed to be soundproof. Them bitches wasn't soundproof that day. They you can hear everything. They was being so loud. So I didn't get to see that shit. I got to hear it. But me and Tony, every time we would hear some shit, and we would just laugh, because to us, like, wondering what all of this commotion is about and shit like that, and then hearing how loud Joel is getting, and hearing how loud Eminem is getting. It was kind of humorous though. But yeah, that's a story that's never been told. I don't think I've ever told that story except to Paul.
So what was Paul's reaction when you told him?
Day? He was like, you were there that day? I was like, yeah, bro, I was there for some shit, man. Like, I mean, that was pretty much the epitome of some shit. But it was crazy. Yeah, there was, I mean, I think that's definitely the craziest thing that happened. But it was always something cool, you know, because he was always there. So it always felt like, damn, I'm in the same fucking building Eminem's in right now. Even if I'm not by him or in the same room, it was still even like, I'm in the same building.
Yeah.
Like, you pull up in his security cars there, this big ass black Suburban or whatever it was, and you're like, oh shit, he's here today. Oh my God. Like, it was exciting every time. It was just like, holy shit, I'm about to walk in a building where Eminem is. Maybe I'll get to see him. Maybe, who knows? It's just still, it's like, wow. So, and I made some nice side money there too, because I used to sell weed to some of the employees that worked at the studio. And so I had like this never-ending supply of weed from my homie that was over in the west of where we were. And it was like, yo, what you need? I'll bring it tomorrow. And then they would all like make orders and shit. And I was making extra money off the weed. It was a good time.
I was just about to say, man, if you say that you were the one selling stuff to M,
not to M.
Because you remember on Going Through Changes, he was like, fucking drug dealers hang around me like yes men, and they gonna do whatever I say when I say.
No, these were just studio guys, like people that kind of had the same kind of jobs as I did. Like,
I don't want to. This dude got multiple jobs. Astray guy / janitorial / audio engineer / you know what I mean, drug dealer / you know what I mean?
Right. But you know what's crazy though? Like, out of all that time that I've ever been there and been in the same room as M, and well, I mean, for real, it wasn't that long that I was even there. It was like a year or almost a year. But out of all, because he after that, oh, actually, yeah, I should have added this to the story. After that situation with the crowbar and the safe and the power tools, he was like, "Fuck y'all, I'm getting out of here." He went to
Down the
uh,
street.
down the street to Effigy and bought Effigy studio literally like 3 blocks away. So you had 54 Sound, you had the Bass Brothers in FBT, and then across the street to the up on the street over, you had Effigy, all walking distance from each other. So it's just so like it's a little funny to me that he's like, "Fuck this, I'm getting out of here," but I'm gonna stay close. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I have no idea of like what happened as far as him getting that studio. That's when I didn't have access to him no more because I still had access to 54 Sound, but he wasn't like, "Yo, why don't you come over here?" He didn't say shit to me. Like, so
Yeah, it
we
sounds
weren't.
like you was there around that 2007 era, you know, where I can understand, like, based off of following his career, that he was real erratic during that time because of his drug use.
Yeah. I mean, possibly. I only seen him in that one environment all the time. I never seen him outside of the studio. I never got to have a personal conversation with him. It was always just kind of like be a fly on the wall. And yeah, chime in with maybe your opinion on something, but I never got to get close to him like that.
Right.
Like that ain't so homie or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I appreciate everything he's ever done for me, but he was never someone I like. I always had to walk a certain line when I was around him. So if anybody messages me anymore, and after you watch this fucking podcast right here, and you message me and you say, "Can you get Eminem to do this for me?" We did not have that kind of relationship. So no, I can't. Sorry. Please
Damn,
stop
and here I
messaging.
was thinking you was gonna get me signed to Shady Podcast.
Bro, it's crazy through the years how many messages I still get from random people like, "Yo, could you please show Eminem my music?" And I'm like, "You know, wild out here."
So,
Like,
like, man, I want to show Eminem my music.
my music, right? Like, I want to sit down and rap this guy's ear off for like an hour. Not y'all. I don't want to. So,
who the fuck is
y'all? It's crazy.
All right, man. Well, so eventually you end up moving back home to take care of your father, right? And what was he sick with?
He was sick with his liver was failing, and he had rectal cancer. He had got diagnosed with rectal cancer. So he was given like maybe a year and a half to live, and he was still doing the chemo and the radiation and anything. And God, that reminds me, like, this is the strongest fucking man I've ever seen in my life, because you hear the horror stories about chemo and radiation and how they just, that's what's really making the cancer patient sick. It's not necessarily the cancer; it's more of the treatment for it. And God, this guy never got sick once, man. Like that alcohol must have fucking made his guts like iron or some shit, because he never got sick once off of it. He never was like, "Oh, I just need to lay down. I'm sick. I don't feel right. I don't feel good." He came home, poured himself another drink, and just rolled with the punches, man. Like, it's so crazy, man. Like, he knew he was gonna die, and I don't know how he felt inside, but he did not give off the aura like he gave a fuck. He was just like, time. And that's, that shit is wild when I think of it.
Was that hard for you to come back home and care for him after your career was advancing pretty much?
Yeah, it was really hard because obviously he, uh, yeah, it was tough, man, because he was, you know, uh, with the alcohol and shit like that, he was just becoming more and more and more, going off the deep end with, getting fucked up all the time, which was making our relationship worse at a time where I wish, like, bro, I swear to God, I would give my life to be able to just talk to him and be like, hey, man, I'm sorry that I was so, uh, when you was sick before you died, you were going through a thing, and I didn't take that into consideration. I I took your madness the same way I always took it, and I threw it right back at you, and I wasn't empathetic enough to, um, or sympathetic enough to like think of how you felt in the moment. You know what I mean? And just sit there with you and have some quality time with my dad before he died. It was always a fight. It was always a fight. On some real shit, bro. Like, me and my dad were so, we butted heads so much at the end of his life because, like I said, he he was more drunk, and the more drunk he would get, the more defensive I would get. As like, I'm not gonna take any more of your shit of you, uh, you coming at me with this attitude of being drunk and trying to be like abusive and verbally just talking mad shit all the time and all negative and this and that. And so at this point, I was like, fuck that. I'm going to argue. I'm like, everything you're giving to me, I'm giving it right back to you. And I'll be completely real with you. That's still a mistake I make with my mom nowadays, even nowadays. Like, when she gets in her ways and she wants to be the way, like a certain way with me, I get defensive and I'm like, oh, you want to be an asshole to me? Like, I'll be one right back, and I don't think about it like, damn, that's my mom. You should never treat your parents like that. You know what I mean? But when you're in the situation and someone's making you extremely aggravated and they're yelling at you or they're just saying belittling things to you or they don't give a fuck how you feel at all, you sometimes you just do it out of reaction. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I could have had a better time with my dad. And I remember the day that he got put in the ICU. So what happened was the night before, he drank so much and he knew he had cancer. He was in pain. So they just prescribed him Vicodins. Uh, he took the whole bottle. I don't think it was on some suicide type shit. I think it was more like, man, I just need to get rid of this pain because as the cancer grew and the treatments got worse, he got, he was just in pain. So, um, I woke up the next day and he's in his wheelchair, like ready for me to take him somewhere. And I'm like, Dad, what's going on? And he was fucking, see this yellow in my hat, bro? He was that yellow. His skin was all jaundice. So all that he drank and all that acetaminophen that was in those Vicodins, because they're like half acetaminophen, half opioid. Um, all that he took like fucked up his liver, and he already was having liver failure. So he's like, Sean, I'm not feeling good. You need to take me to the hospital. And bro, a part of me was so mad at him that I damn, I've never talked about this like to like on never been this transparent on some live type shit. So uh uh but anyway, he was like, you gotta take me to the hospital. I took him to the hospital, and I had woken up like real early. Like that was like 5 a.m. or some shit. And I was like, man, I'm still fucking tired. And I don't feel like sitting with him in the hospital, waiting for him um to go in, or to get called back. You know what I mean? And I was like, Dad, I'll be back in like an hour and a half, and I'll come and check on you. I knew that, yeah, he was like, he needed hospital attention, but I didn't know that it was that bad. I just knew that he was yellow and he didn't feel good. So I just took him to the hospital. I mean, hospitals were it was an everyday thing. He went and got chemo every day. He went and got radiation every day. So uh, maybe a part of me was thinking like, well, this is just routine shit. He needs to go to the hospital. And what I did was dropped him off, went home, slept for an hour, and then came back to him to check on him. And I was like, where's Fred Grossman? And they're like, oh, they're transferring him to the ICU. So like, they were like, if you go through these halls, you can catch it. So he was being wheeled in a bed. Like, he was completely with it when he asked me to take him to the hospital. But he was being wheeled in a bed the next time I seen him, like an hour and a half later, uh, to the ICU part of the hospital. And I seen him in the hallway, and that immediately like made me start freaking out. Like, why is he in a bed? Like, what's happening right now? Like, what, I didn't think that something like that would happen. I didn't think it would jump from that to this. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think it was that time yet. And he was being wheeled, and he was like out of it like this. And it's like, Dad, I was crying and shit. And I was like, Dad, I love you. I love you. I love you, man. I love Dad, I love you. And he raised his arm out and like grabbed my wrist or my hand. He's like, I love you too, Shorty. And that was the last words I ever heard from my dad. And 10 days later, we had to pull the plug in ICU. So yeah, that shit was. And I sat there and held his hand while, like, when we gave them permission to pull the plug, it literally took like 20 minutes for him to die. So it was all machines keeping him alive. He had nothing in him. He was in a complete coma. It was crazy. It was just the whole situation was wild, man. So I wish to God I would give literally anything to just be able to go back and sit with him and hang out with him, as opposed to even just take him being an asshole. Just take it. You know what I mean? Like just to be like, look, man, you're being a dick, but let's just talk. Let's talk. Like, we don't got that much time left. Let's talk. So
I'm sure that you would give anything to hear him again say, like, come over here and talk to me.
Oh God, bro, anything. I mean, anything. Like, I'd give my life to hear that again. You know what I'm saying? Like, to go. If I had the choice right now to go to heaven, to die and go to heaven, knowing that I'm gonna be able to see my dad and just be able to be there with him instead of being on this earth. I mean, I know I have children, but I don't know, man. I think I would take that. I think I would make that decision and be like, oh, yeah, take me up there, because I love that guy.
You know how like you were saying when you came back to take care of him, like anything that he was giving you, you were giving right back. Do you think that that
Yeah,
came from the years of harboring like kind of resentment and other things that he did?
yep, absolutely. I had it up to here. He had me so, and my mom too. And God bless my mom. And I'm making the same mistake with my mom, because as she gets older, she doesn't drink, she doesn't do any of that kind of stuff, but she's like, she gets a shorter fuse with me, and I'm just kind of like, no, I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you be so short with me, because it's gonna make me not want to be around you. You know what I mean? And so sometimes I think of that and I'm just like, God, like how can I make it so it's easier to be around my mom, and me and her are always butting heads now, you know? Because like my mom, same thing I said about my pops, like she would do anything for me, anything. And she's such a good person. She's such a good person. She just, for some reason, she's always had it out for me. She's always had a short fuse with me. My two daughters, they could do no wrong in her eyes. But me, I don't know, maybe she's got a thing with like boys or guys. Like
Or do you think that you resemble your dad in some ways?
maybe I
Because
don't,
you and your dad bumped heads a lot because you guys were similar in some ways, right?
possibly. Yeah, that could very well be. Um I don't know though. I don't know. I think I don't know, man. I have no clue about that. That's crazy. I, I just know that my mom has always had a short fuse with me, like my whole life. But like I said, hers didn't come from a substance, like
Right.
altering her mind. That's just her personality. And maybe it was how she was raised. Like my grandpa and grandma want the most like lovey dovey type of, like with my kids, I'm fucking lovey dovey 1,000%. Like I'm like,
Right.
come here, you know what I'm saying? Like we're hanging out. I need a hug. I need a kiss. I need a anything. You know what I mean? Like
You got to
I'm
love on your kids,
super
man.
got
You
to,
got to
bro.
love
You
on your
got
kids,
to, especially
especially while they're younger.
yeah. And to be real, this is crazy that we're talking about all this shit. Even some other real shit, like my mom, as much as she loves me, bro, she loves me to death. You know what I'm saying? And I love her to death. And I would do anything for her. And like I said, she would do anything. So, but we do butt heads a lot. But I remember when I met my biological mom. So to add to this,
Robin.
yeah, Robin. So my mom, who raised me, she was never like how my dad was very affectionate. Like he was lovey dovey, you know what I mean? Like um my mom was never like that. She was more like stern. And like if I came up to give her a hug, she'd probably be like, you know what I'm saying? Instead of embracing me like like how you would give someone a hug. Like she was all, and her, like, I think her parents were like that with her. Um, so that's just the type of person she came to be. She's a wonderful person to be around. Like she's got so many fucking friends that would literally do anything for her. And, she goes to church and uh, people love her, bro. Like, but just with me, there's something there that she don't like. I don't know. Or she has a short fuse with, at least.
Well, do you see her embracing other people?
Yeah. Yeah. No, not like embracing like how I just explained, like the lovey-dovey, I hate that I call it lovey-dovey. Y'all better not make fun of me for calling that shit lovey-dovey.
Affectionate.
But affectionate, yeah. I've never seen her be that affectionate with anybody, but she's definitely been like joyous and happy to be around someone. And just like when my 25-year-old comes over, she fucking lights up, bro. Like that is her favorite person on the planet. And I sometimes I look at her like, why couldn't I ever get any of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, not to have a grudge against my own kid for getting more love from my moms than I ever got, but I'm just like, why does she get all the love and I never got none of that? Like,
that's an actual thing though, bro, because a lot of times parents, they realize the mistakes that they made. Some are more willing to admit to it than others, right? But they look at grandchildren as their way to make up for it. But it's hard for their actual child to witness them doing that, because it's like, why couldn't you have done that for me? I'm still here.
I get that.
I'm still here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, and it's hard. It's not like it's like, you feel guilty almost because you're like, well, I'm being jealous of my own child getting affection, but at the same time, it's like your inner child feeling that. You know what I'm saying? Like you were not watered in that way. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of tough.
Yeah, it's crazy, and like I said, her with boys or men, my son, me and my son get the short end of the stick with my mom. Like, she's way more cool with my two daughters. So maybe she gets along better with girls. I don't know. I have no clue. Or maybe my son is so fucking crazy because he's a little crazy guy. Maybe he's just so crazy that he reminds her of a young me, and she's like, no, not again. Oh God, you know what I'm saying? Like, not little Sean all over again. But no, man, this is my boy right here. Look at him. Oh shit, you can't really see him good, but yeah, that's Lux, bro.
That's beautiful, man.
I got a tattoo recently of my kid's name. It says Lexi, that's my oldest. Lily, she's my middle, and Lux is my son, my youngest son. And then I only have one son, but instead of Lux, it's Luxury, because he wants to be a rapper like me. So I gave him the rap name Luxury. Like, that's your rap name. So I got his rap, instead of getting his name, I got his rap name. And he thinks it's cool. And like literally every song that comes on, he's like trying to match my words, like how I used to do with music that when I was a kid. But now he's doing it. It's like, not just because it's music, but damn, it's my dad's song. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
But the crazy shit I was gonna say about my mom, in Detroit, was one of the first times that I met her, and we actually got to have like a long conversation. I told her, and I really felt like this too. I told her, like, look, I'm 18 years old, but a part of me wishes I was a little kid so I could experience what it's like for you to like just hold me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense or if that
makes a lot of sense, bro.
It was crazy, and I felt that hardcore back then. Like, I just wish to God that, and maybe it was from the lack of that my mom who raised me didn't give me. So I was like searching for it from my real parent, like my real blood
Right.
biological parent. Even though I didn't know this woman from nothing, I
Hmm.
just met her, but I had this desire and for her to hold me like I was a little fucking kid, and I could never make sense of it. But it was a overwhelming feeling. Like it was enough to where I had to tell her about it. Like, look, you know, I know we don't know each other that well, and I'm just getting to know you, but this is how I really feel. And I felt this way for a long time without even knowing you. So
Well, you know what's kind of crazy is because, like you said, like when you were born, she never got to hold you either. Like you immediately left, right? Like you were taking
yeah,
them.
the
Right.
second I came out the womb, I was gone. They took me to another
I
room.
mean, there's a lot of layers to that feeling that you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Shit is crazy, man.
This question though, I wanted to ask you: have you reached a point where you've forgiven your dad or you've forgiven yourself for what happened?
No, not myself, but my dad, absolutely. I I forgave my dad years ago. Like I've been having that feeling of if I could just see him one more time, or if I could just see him permanently and be there with him. Uh, like like I'm like anybody else. Of course, I'm scared of that. Of course, I'm scared of the unknown. What comes after? But I'm not scared of if any of it entails me being with my pops. I'm not scared of that. So
Why do you think that it's so hard for you to forgive yourself over that situation?
be, uh, because I just it's uh, I don't know, man. It was just a horrible to go home and go to sleep, go back to sleep. Like, yeah, I understand. I didn't know what was going to happen, but knowing his health, I didn't know what was gonna, like I thought it was he needed to go to the hospital. In my mind, that was pretty routine for at the time. So I get that, but I should have just. I wish I had the knowledge and the heart to just stay there with him and keep him company on the moments before he became non-existent. You know what I mean? Like he went into a coma and that was it. 10 days later or however many days later, he died. Those were his last moments. And I'm like, I gotta go home and go to sleep. I gotta go back to bed because I'm tired. What the fuck is that? I It's just not. I can't even accept it. I
And
think I think about it
you
and it
woke up
makes me.
angry at him though
Huh?
from the night before, right? You woke up angry at him from the night before, you were saying?
Uh, Probably. I say that?
Yeah, I think you said something along those lines that like when you
Oh,
woke up, you,
I don't know if I was angry at him the night before, but usually that was the case. Like I said, we're always butting heads and shit like that. But um, yeah, uh, I will. So I probably woke up with at least an attitude, like, really, you got to go to the like, fuck, why are you so yellow? You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost maybe a part of me also felt like, dog, you're doing this to yourself, man, and you know it, and um you just keep on doing it, like you're killing yourself, and you know you're gonna die, but you're killing yourself quicker. And how can I how, I don't know, at the time, my mind was a lot younger, and um, I didn't think the way I thought now, or I think now. So at the time, I was just like, you did this, man. You did this to yourself. Like, you're all yellow right now from how many Vicodins you just took and all the liquor, or all the whiskey you drank. Like, you're the one that needs to go to the hospital, because this has been your life now for so long. And that's, I think, just the way that I looked at it. I didn't have any sympathy whatsoever, because it was a, it was a daily, every single fucking day, almost every hour experience with him. But when I seen him getting wheeled in that fucking cart to the ICU, half out of it, like, no, that's when the sympathy fucking poured in me. Like, God was like, he opened me up and poured the whole fucking thing of sympathy in me. It was like, dog, you about to lose your pops, man. Like, this is it. There ain't no coming back from this. And ever since then, like, just had those feelings of regret. That's like probably my number one regret in life. And it's not as, I haven't forgiven myself. I've learned to live with it. And I try to be good to my kids, as an extension of him.
Right.
But that's the most I could do. The one thing I just wish I could do was, and like I said, I would give my life for it, is just to be there, to be able to be like, man, so sorry. And I, I just want to, let's talk. Let's do it the right way. You know what I mean? How we were supposed to do it. Like, without the alcohol, without me having a fucking bad attitude because I'm always getting yelled at. I'm always getting, I'm always seeing you doing this wild shit to yourself.
It's tough, bro. It's one of those situations where you ask, is addiction a actual disease or is it a choice? Right? It's hard to tell somebody that is being affected by somebody else's addiction that it's a disease, because you see this person make the mistake over and over again. They're not only hurting themselves, they're hurting the people that are in their lives, and the people in their lives are being affected by it.
Yeah.
And you can have empathy for it for maybe so long, but after a while, you're human and you're going to feel how you're going to feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But of course, your situation ended up with it being towards his last moment. So there's that regret that's going to be attached to it, where it's like, damn, if I, didn't feel that way, I could have had a little bit more time with my dad, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If I didn't feel that way, I would have been like, yeah, I'll go in the hospital with you. I'll sit with you, and I'll hold your hand. I'll do whatever you need me to do. Just like, you remember how I told you when I was sick,
Yep.
I thought I was going to die back when I was 19, just like he did for me. You know what I mean? Like, he had that kind of heart to do that for me, and he instilled that in me, even through all the times that he was obliterated, fucking lit, drunk, whatever. Like, he still, best thing my dad ever did for me was gives me the sense of empathy and sympathy. And he just showed me what it was to be a big-hearted person. Because regardless of how fucked up he ever got, when he woke up in the morning, man, when it was all wore off, he was a big-hearted person. Super big. It was crazy, dude. Like, I just thought of something. So 2 weeks before my dad died, before this all happened, I was like, hey, man, I had my studio, like, in the background. and he was in a wheelchair, and he rolled himself. And um, I was like, "Hey, you feel like getting on the microphone and telling a story?" And he was drunk, so it's like, I don't think it occurred to him like, this is like your last words to the world type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like that's what it was. I was like, let me get him talking, so I always have like this audio of him just whatever he's about to say. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yeah, and he was was drunk, so he was but he wasn't mean drunk. He wasn't like in that kind of mood. He was
It's
more
feeling
like
nice.
yeah, he was feeling nice. He was feeling a little uh playfully sarcastic, like, hey, well, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Or just just being funny. He wasn't being an asshole. Uh but I invited him in the studio, and I was like, here's the microphone. I'm just gonna ask you some questions, Dad, and you just ramble out whatever comes to your mind. And I swear I got like a half an hour of him just talking shit. And he was talking about some stuff about his parents. He was alcohol. My dad was the type where alcohol made him real sensitive. So, like, some shit I can laugh at. When my dad really, like, towards his later years, he started liking country. Never liked country when I was growing up as a kid, but for some reason, I don't know, he just started liking it. And I would have to drive. So everywhere we went, he would, if he got in the car, the radio was his. Like, we ain't listening to that rap shit. I know he like, cut that rap shit off. Like, we're listening to country. He'd always be drunk, and he wouldn't know the words to a song, but he would think like, I know the words to this, or maybe he had heard it once or something. But almost like a bloodhound or something, like howling to music. That's how my dad would think that he knew the words, so he would try to keep up with the song. So like if the song was like, um, say it was like, I've been sitting there thinking about you, and my dad would be like, yeah, yeah, and he'd be crying, bro. Country. That's some of the funniest moments I've ever seen. I mean, he was crying and shit, but I couldn't help it. He was like, I'm like, Dad, you don't even know what you're singing right now. But like something about the country, he felt it. He was like,
Right.
and he was crying, he would be crying. But okay, but yeah, so I mean, that's some funny shit. But in this like 30-minute whatever, all these audio recordings I got of him, he went from everywhere from crying to yelling at the microphone to, because I was asking him questions about, like, tell me about grandma and grandpa, his mom and dad. And he would immediately start crying. Grandma and grandpa are the greatest people on earth, and blah blah blah. And he was, literally fucking bawling.
Right.
And then I'd be like, tell me about I don't know, tell me about working at GM, because he worked there for a long time before he was forced to retire. And it's like, yeah, man, we would bring some cocaine in there, and we would we would do cocaine. We would do our jobs like crazy. Like, we would get it done quick and fucking, like, keep us all into that shit. And it's just funny, like all all that shit that he talked, and that I still have those too. I need to go back and listen to them. I haven't listened to them in a long time, but it was cool. But yeah, I don't know why I told this story, but he just imagining him in the car trying to sing along. He, oh shit, bro.
Can I say something to you?
Yeah, for sure.
Sean, I think you should forgive yourself because I think he's looking down on you and he's forgiving you and he's proud of you, bro.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. It's easier said than done. I would like to think that he's looking down and he's proud and he sees who I am and what I am and all that stuff. Yeah, it's just hard to, fully take away the regret of what had happened. You know what I mean?
I know.
So, but yeah, it's not killing me.
Right.
So,
but it's made you a better father though, too. Right?
Absolutely. It's taught me lessons that without that, I wouldn't be the same person. So through all that, maybe it stood for something.
Yeah. All right, bro. I just want to thank you for your time, man. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before we go ahead and wrap it up?
Nah, man. This has been a dope ass interview conversation, man. I appreciate you and how how good you are at doing this. Like, other people need to take notes for real.
You've never had an interview like this?
Never.
And never a long one like this, too.
Never this long. I mean, maybe I contributed to that a little bit from me rambling on every fucking little story that I'm going on about.
I still got like 5 questions I didn't get to ask, but we're going to save that for part 2. Okay.
Yeah, let's do a part 2, man.
Yeah, eventually we're going to do a part 2. That'll be dope.
6 hours long.
Right.